Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monster Party Podcast, now a part of the Fangoria Podcast Network. For more information about the network, including other programs, how to follow the show, and find past episodes of Monster Party, please visit Fangoria.com. And now, let's start the party. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party!
Monsters! Monster Party!
And oh my, this is a very special edition of Monster Party.
Oh my God. I've been wanting to do this for ages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is our 50th episode.
It's our 50th episode!
Party.
Yeah!
That's awesome.
That is great! God, 50!
Yes.
We're that old?
50.
We are that old, yes.
We actually are that old.
And who are you, sir?
And I am Matt Weinhold.
And I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James Gonis.
And the topic we have for this show, man, God, I love this topic.
It's pretty special.
It's a great one.
Yep.
And you're going to learn things about me and our guest and all of us through this topic.
Mm-hmm.
The topic is evil kids.
Evil kids!
Evil kids, the worst kind of kids.
We're talking real evil kids.
Which is kind of redundant.
Not a kid who just lies. It's an evil
Yes.
kid.
But who better to guide us through this wonderful topic than a man who has a child of his own who has experienced the wills and ways of other kids. My good friend, a comic that is like a god, really, to me.
Wow.
No, I'm going to overdo it.
Wow.
All right, you go ahead.
Your comedy has cured me of shingles. Ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
Jake Johanssen.
Jake Johansson!
Thank you. That could have been the placebo effect.
Thanks for
There's
being
no scientific method when it comes
I've
to...
been legally asked to not make any claims about my abilities to cure anything.
Thanks for being with us
Thank
on Monster
you
Party.
so much for being
Nice
with
to
us.
be here.
And that I really did think that you would be the perfect person for this because, first of all, you have a kid.
Oh.
I do have a kid. Does
Yeah.
anyone else have
Yep,
kids?
I've got
Larry has a
one.
kid.
Yeah, so I think you and I are the only ones who
Yeah.
can really
Only
talk
parents.
about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But you guys have
Give
a
it true
keen insight.
We do. We
Yes,
do.
That's true.
You've had sex with a lady.
I have, yes.
Yeah. Fellas?
Yes.
Yeah,
no.
we've all sexed. We've all done the sex. We've
So
sexed on a girl.
We could all be parents, but we're not.
Yeah. No, I
sure.
nipped that. No.
In theory, we could.
Yeah, in
Right.
theory we could. I still got like about 3 more years.
Did you vasectomize yourself?
No, I didn't vasectomize it.
So you could not too late.
But my seed is, I would say, clinically depressed.
The topic
Not happy.
The topic though today is evil kids, not someone's vasectomy.
Well, no,
It's-
you can't have an evil kid if you can't
Yeah.
have a kid.
Yeah.
This is my point.
But see, how far are we going to go back in this? Are we talking babies? Are we talking fetuses? Or even... how about
babies,
evil
toddlers.
seed?
No,
My angry seed that has not yet impregnated a woman could be considered an evil kid.
No.
Well, that reminds. What's that movie? The Demon Seed, where the robot,
Yeah, but that's
the
something.
robot-
Yeah, that's something completely different, though.
Oh, but that could be...
Completely different?
No,
It is
I don't think it
completely
is.
different.
Because
No,
they
it's
have
not.
Okay.
The baby.
So demon
computer-
seed. Is
because
this your start? Is this your start of
yes.
evil?
No,
Yes.
I'm the one who brought it up.
Okay,
You
all right.
can't-
Why don't you,
I
Sean?
can- I
why don't you
feel
let our
like a
guest
guy-
talk for a moment?
Jake, tell us about the movie Demon Seed.
Well, a robot.
Right? Computer, go ahead. But fine.
Is it a computer? I don't remember. Here, I'm going to have to have a lot of things explained to me, so I'm just happy to be able to explain something to someone else, and that's
Right.
only by hijacking the topic with a borderline. Like, I need a lawyer to even justify this as a evil child movie. But a lady gets impregnated by a robot,
Right.
right?
Okay,
or a
all right.
Or a computer,
Computer
or an
robot,
entity,
okay.
But she's going to have this artificial intelligence. We're hearing all about it now.
Yeah, it's in the
She's gonna-
papers.
Yeah.
She's going to have this entity's baby, and
Yeah.
it's going to be. There's no doubt about it that even though the movie ends before she has the baby, right?
No, she has the baby.
Right
No.
as she has it.
Yeah.
So
Kind of.
But then we know, like, this is going to be bad news. It's not going to be the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Well, you don't know
like
really.
the-
We don't know.
The
Maybe.
baby-
I don't know.
Yeah, the computer kind of
It's a hybrid.
It forms in this kind of incubator that the computer creates,
Yeah.
and then the baby comes out, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like this
It's
creepy,
covered in scales.
robotic,
So
like, metal
cool.
scales,
Yeah.
but then like it
They
breaks
peel
away,
it off.
and then there's like a human-looking baby underneath, but then you don't know.
Spoiler alert.
And then it has a
Yeah.
computer voice, and it
But then
says,
you-
I am alive,
Yeah,
or something like
so
that.
it's like, is it really evil?
See, that's the thing. That's why I feel that it can't really be in this topic because you don't know if it's an evil
Oh, well,
kid.
but- yes,
no,
it's
no,
up
no,
there.
no,
But
Sean.
his
No,
father
Sean.
was.
The father was
Yes,
evil.
yeah, okay.
Proteus,
Yes,
the
but how
computer.
often, Sean? How often is it? There's like a bad parent, an evil parent, and they have an offspring that's always total opposite. I looked at that as like an optimistic. I had an optimistic view of it. I thought
interesting.
after when he
Jesus
made the
Larry,
when he made the
Larry, I agree with you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I agree with you.
But if that movie can't be included in this topic,
No,
then
it can.
What?
You're right.
But no, I put it to you, sir.
Yes.
What topic would that movie be part of? Just because
evil
I'd like to come
computers?
back for that.
Yeah, that would be a no. But
Well, that's our show.
Is that going to be the 100th episode?
Jake, you bring up actually a good point. I think it would be maybe in our like evil computer episode, but there are so many evil kid movies out there
Or that
we
huge-
can
that
talk
huge
about.
evil-
Evil
What about
fathers.
Ladies impregnated by things that they wish they hadn't been impregnated by.
Oh, man. We don't have enough time.
There's a topic.
Wow.
That's
No, but
the story of my
We're,
life.
we're going to run into this a lot because there's a lot of
It's
kids.
crossover.
Kids by nature, they don't ask to be born, and there's a lot of kids who are also sort of victimized by evil forces.
You
True.
Right, or possessed by
Yeah.
evil forces.
Yeah.
So, so this is a nice little segue.
You got to
So-
have an evil parent.
Right, but
Totally.
like the Exorcist, which is kind of the
right.
granddaddy
Well,
of all evil kid movies.
Yeah.
in a way, or not the granddaddy, but more like the icon.
But that was a kid who was not evil.
Possessed.
until-
She's
right?
possessed, right?
Evil force was possessing. So is that kid evil? No, the kid's not evil. The force that's possessing it is evil. But a lot of people would consider that an evil kid movie.
While it's possessing it, it's an evil kid.
No, that's true.
I think this is weird. It's funny how you started off with a sort of a legal
Yes,
problem with
that's-
my idea, the first movie.
Yeah.
But all of these movies are going to have a little
No.
bit of
Sure.
this
We're
legal.
We're
wait,
going to be in court
No.
for
Because-
ages.
Because The Exorcist, Linda Blair, the actress
Yes.
who played what's her name?
Reagan.
Reagan was not an evil kid, but she was possessed by an evil entity, and then she became technically an evil kid.
Right.
But-
But-
until the force was driven from her. And
But
then she was
why
back to
did
being
but
evil.
why
Then she
did
was fine.
why did the demon choose her? She was kind of an upstart little kid. She had a little mouth on her, right?
I think all kids are susceptible.
No,
She played with a
she was
Ouija
a sweet
board.
kid. She was a
that's
sweet
true.
kid. She made little
That's
clay
true.
figures. I can't believe we're talking about
But
this.
James is right. She played with the Ouija board. She
made a
Captain,
clay-
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Howdy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right, Captain Howdy.
Ah,
Maybe,
see?
maybe unknowingly, but she
Captain
kinda
what?
learned-
Captain
Howdy.
Howdy.
Captain Howdy was
Yeah.
the
That
name
was
of
the name of the-
fake name of the demon, the name
yeah.
that the demon gave itself.
The entity.
Yeah, I like the fact that there was a demon that actually went, God, what am I going to call myself? Captain Howdy. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk
Captain Underworld? No, that's ridiculous.
about. Here's
What
a-
about Satan?
Silly Satan.
Here's an example of a kid, though, an evil kid. Who I think by nature is a truly evil kid, and that would be the classic 1956 film, The Bad Seed.
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
Now that is
yes.
the granddaddy.
No,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
And when
wait.
Jake
Or
was going on,
grandmommy.
no, The Bad Seed, such a great film. This
Have you
is,
seen this movie?
I think I may have. Now, what happens in that one?
Patty McCormick, and what was the character's name?
Rhoda.
Rhoda. And Rhoda is this little girl who is kind of spunky and mischievous, but clearly very intelligent.
Freckles?
Well, she's got
Pigtails, I
blonde
think.
blonde hair,
Pigtails, right?
Very sweet, very manipulative. Now,
Very manipulative.
Now, her mother, Christine, that's played by Nancy Kelly, she is the total opposite. She's very sweet, kind of passive, and basically
Wants to believe the best of her
Yes,
daughter.
And Rhoda basically manipulates her mother. The bad
Constantly.
It is truly. This is the epitome of the ultimate evil
What is it?
kid.
If- what is it? What was her thing that she always said to her mom? Like her mom would say, "If you gave me a basket full of kisses, I'd give you a barrel full of hugs," or something like that. Like,
Well, now, hang
and that
on.
worked with her mom.
So,
But you know what was so great about that film is first of all, it was based on a novel by William March, and though the book won a lot of awards, immediately the book was made into a Broadway play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the movie feels like a play.
It does,
Yeah.
man.
It does,
It does. And what also is weird is a lot of the people who were in the original play were basically taken and put in the movie.
Right,
yeah,
right.
maybe,
Which is why
maybe that was not so good of an idea.
No. I think Patty
A
McCormack.
lot of very big performances in that thing.
But I think Patty McCormack,
yeah.
I thought was great.
She's great. She's great.
And let me tell you something really interesting. You know, from one dad to another. That's one of my kids' favorite movies, by the way, The Bad Seed. And my kid is so opposite. My kid is so sweet. She's such a precious little kid, but she loves the movie The Bad Seed.
yeah, we all like to believe that we're not the father of the evil child. But here's a question that I have about that. I think that I may have seen it, but it sounds like when you're talking about it and my vague sense of the possibility that I might remember it, or maybe I'm just dipping into the pop culture zeitgeist. It seems like this is not a demonic possession. This is more of one of those. Every once in a while, you get one of these kids,
right?
You get a bad egg.
And if you spare the rod, you spoil. Yeah, this is sort of one of those serial killer type.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, the beauty of it, though, is what we find out is that the mother, that's Christine, she learns through the play or the movie that she was actually adopted by her father. And she tries to find out, well, where did I actually come from? It turns out that her mother is believed to be a serial killer.
Right, but
And so she goes, how
apple doesn't fall.
How is it if my mother was a serial killer and I'm not a serial killer? But then there's all this discussion about, well, it's possible it could skip a generation or whatever, and then she starts to think about her kid who starts to be very manipulative.
My understanding that a lot of that type of childhood gone wrong behavior can be solved or cured, and I think this may have been put in the film, by spankings or church. but that can also backfire on you.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're really right about, like, with that girl, she needed to be told no a few more times, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, with a
Rhoda?
stick.
Yeah.
With a stick,
yeah.
right?
But see, the funny thing is her mom was very passive about it, everything that she did, and it always seemed like Rhoda had ways to manipulate her mother, where she's playing the piano or tap dancing, and then she goes and sets the guy on fire.
Well, now that guy by there's a groundskeeper.
Yeah, who's
guy,
kinda creepy,
and what was his name?
Henry Jones. No, not Henry.
Henry Jones played him, right?
I think. Yeah.
But she lit him on fire.
She lit him on fire. Well, at one point
Leroy
he's taunting her all throughout the entire movie. He's like, "I bet you had something to do with that boy's death because a kid dies. A kid dies, and then the mother finds this kid won like a spelling bee or something, and Rhoda thought she should have won, so she kills this kid to get his little medal, and then Henry Jones is like, I bet you had something to do with the kid dying. You did this, and I bet you hit her with your shoes. And then as soon as he says hit her with the shoes, she gets a scared look on her face.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he just turns white.
Yeah.
And he's like, you did it. You did it. You hit him with the shoes. You hit him with the shoes.
Now, is this the first instance that we've ever really seen, like, out of Hollywood, of an evil kid? Was that like the granddaddy? Of
I don't know.
evil
You
movies?
can't say that.
This is
In the 1950s.
You ever watch The Little Rascals?
No. James brings up a good
an all-out
point.
kind of evil kid.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that though too, because the movie Hollywood kind of whitewashed the ending of the film.
Oh
That's
gosh,
right.
So now
Sean, it makes me
it's
so
insulting.
mad.
It's
The
insulting.
ending of the play.
The bad scene.
No,
the film.
Of
the
the
film.
Film.
And it's because
Now,
of Hays
this is
Code.
spoilers, people, but this is something
spoiler
worth
alert.
But you
saying.
need to hear this.
It's
You
kind,
have
it's
to
kind of
hear
hilarious.
You need to hear this.
If you haven't seen The Bad Seed,
it's pretty hilarious. 'cause
go away for a while.
It's from
Basically,
the 50s.
Yeah, 56.
Right.
Yeah.
But
If
the
you
kid,
haven't-
in the play, I think the kid got away. I think.
Well, if I could tell the play,
Sure.
Go
so
for
what
it, go for
happens
it.
in the play, in the original play, what happens when the mother realizes that her kid did commit this murder, possibly others, she says, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And so she decides towards the end, she's going to give her kid some sleeping pills. They're vitamins, honey. They're vitamins. So the kid takes all the sleeping pills. So the kid goes to sleep. So her kid is going to go to sleep and die. What Christine decides to do, she's going to take a gun and blow her brains out. That's what happens in the play. Now, what happens is the gun freaks out the neighbors, and they come over, they bang down the door, and oh my gosh, the mother shot her, but what's wrong with Rhoda? They kind of wake her up, try to wake up Rhoda. She can't woke up, so they take her to the hospital, and they get the pills out, and so Rhoda survives.
Yeah, so
But
they
continue to kill.
can-
Now
so they can
that's
have a-
now that's the play.
Doesn't she get hit with what was it with the lightning and all that?
No. First
is
of all,
similar
that's the
to the-
play. Now they're going to make the movie.
So the movie,
Sean?
Hollywood in the 50s just did not want to have this pure evil kid get away with murder.
Time out, though.
Yeah.
What you just described
Yeah.
is the end of the Blob. I mean, you'd think you killed it, but you didn't kill it.
We don't know how
Well,
old
yeah,
the blob
or-
was.
or-
That could have been an evil kid.
Yeah.
Or any kind of like monster that keeps coming back.
So
Right.
then when
So
they
wait,
make
so
the
make-
when they
so
make
the
the
movie-
movie
So
when they make the movie,
there's no way they're going to let that.
they got to make sure the
Yeah.
kid's dead.
Yeah,
No,
so-
no,
so
they gotta-
the kid's just basically
lighten it
walking
up a
out,
little bit.
walking out on the dock or something.
Oh, you got to go backwards.
Well, here- okay,
just really quickly. So what happens instead of the mom gives Rhoda the sleeping pills, she goes to sleep. The mom decides to shoot herself, but when she shoots herself, she kind of misses and she injures herself.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot. It's
Yeah.
not
the
as easy to
the
kill
neighbors
yourself
come
as
over.
No.
They and Christine goes to the hospital and she has a big bandage on her head. And oh my gosh, they saved Rhoda because I don't know how mommy made this mistake. So they get the pills out of her. So now you have both the mom alive and the kid alive. But Sean, what happens?
Well, then the little evil girl gets struck by
Well,
lightning.
because
she's looking for the badge or
She
something?
wants to go back out to the dock to get the little medal.
Right,
That
that
gets
she
the little
stole,
medal,
right.
and she
To get the medal for
and
what?
The boy won for the
boy.
spelling bee,
Right.
Now-
and it was dropped in the water, and that's like the piece of evidence that would
And there's
condemn
like a
her.
storm or something. And she's
Yeah.
like,
She's in her little raincoat going to the dock to try to find the medal.
But Jake, that's not the thing that pisses me off. So what
Savvy
happens
criminal.
is,
Yeah.
as this little girl goes out, the music's really intense, dun, 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 and she goes out the dock. She's trying to get the middle. Aha, she got. And then yes, Sean's right. A big bolt of lightning
Shit
comes down
blows up.
and strikes her and blows her up. So at
Blows her up.
first,
Kids
you're
are very
like-
combustible,
you're first-
but you know
Jake,
that.
You know, Jake, so you're first
Oh,
go,
yeah.
oh my gosh, you got to come up. Then all of a sudden, a narrator comes on and goes, wait a minute. It's not over yet. And then also you go, what? What the hell is this? And then the narrator starts to introduce the cast like a play. And each character comes out. And this
Does
is a
their
film,
bow.
mind you.
They do their
I
bow.
think it was just to kind of like
Yeah,
ease,
to kind of
ease
lighten
I
it
think
up a
it's
little
I
bit.
think it's to rinse
No, no.
it out. Like this
Yeah.
is all
Yeah.
Well,
pretend.
Jake,
Yeah.
that's
Not
the
really-
best part. Here's the best part. This is the part that really
Okay,
pisses
all
me
right,
off.
easy,
No.
easy.
Okay, so just when they introduce each
What
of
do
the...
you do to
No,
prepare for the
listen,
show?
Listen, this is the film that my kid watches all the time. I know this film backwards and forwards.
totally get
So
that.
sorry.
So here we get to the end. No,
I
we get
asked
to the
you a
end.
valid question,
So we get
and I
to-
feel like the listeners deserve an answer.
We're gonna get to the end.
Yeah, no, I wanna
So
hear
what
it.
happens is when they introduce Patty McCormick. What happens is, and Patty McCormick as Rhoda. Then all of a sudden, the mom says, "Come here, you," and takes Patty McCormick over her knee and starts to spank
spanks
her.
her.
And I'm watching this. What did I say?
I know, exactly.
And I watch this.
But she's
and I went,
laughing when
You've
it happens.
Got to be freaking kidding me.
That should end all movies like that.
No. No.
Wait a minute,
And
everybody.
now we're going
you know
to
what?
church.
The movie Life Force should have ended that way. That-
Oh yes.
Yeah, she comes
so
on-
They spank Matilda.
May, yeah.
Now look, I mean, we
But
talked.
that's another show.
We talked about the ending.
Movies should end with them spanking the director.
Yeah, Prometheus.
No. The guy who did the best. He was an acclaimed
But
director.
it
But the
was
thing is,
interesting, yeah.
it's a neat film.
It is a good movie. I still
is-
enjoy it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. But that is to me.
And she's
that-
amazing.
Rhoda is fantastic.
Yeah.
Or Patty
Patty
McCormick is
McCormick.
great.
Patty McCormick is great.
And she is the epitome of the evil kid.
Yeah.
Did
I
she
feel
go
like
on
I-
to?
Diving.
Did
I
she
need
go
to
on-
see this movie.
Yeah, no, you
I
would
need
really
to see-
enjoy it. You would
So
really
what's
enjoy
the
it.
name of it again?
The Bad
Bad
Seed.
Bad
Seed.
Seed.
Yeah,
What
kind of a
happened-
classic.
What happened to Patty McCormick? Did she have a career after that?
She
Yeah,
went on to do a bunch of movies.
Yeah, she did.
As an adult too.
She was in William Castle's Bug.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killed by a bug and
Yeah.
a few other things.
Now, the funny thing about it is the film, it does have like a cult popularity. And I just read somewhere that Eli Roth, believe it or not, wants to remake it. Can you believe it? This is the guy who brought us Hostel and Green
yeah.
Inferno.
While
Can
you were talking about it, I thought this would be a great remake.
Really?
This could
really?
be a great
It
remake.
I thought it was remade. Sean,
It was.
you
It was like a
but it's
TV
not-
movie or
but
something.
It's not nearly as good as the classic. And again, it is one of my kids' favorite films.
Well,
so.
Yeah, but I still want to go back to what do you do to prepare for the show? Are you a coffee guy or
Your energy drink, right? You're
mean,
like
you're-
me.
Red Bull.
You're
Yeah,
like me.
well, I have like vodka, Red Bull. Is that what you're talking about? The
Well, just
vodka
a
we
little
like.
bit. Yeah. What's your regimen? What time do you get up?
What time do you get
do
it?
it? Do you
About
have it-
6?
The topic today is evil
Senator,
kids.
answer the question.
I know that, but were you at work today?
I would. Yes, I work today.
Okay.
But what? This isn't about me. Our topic is evil
Isn't it?
kids. No,
Isn't it?
no, it isn't.
You bring an energy that I wish I had in my life.
I
And
agree.
that's why
It's a
I
compliment.
asked.
I agree.
That's why I asked.
Well,
Okay.
there's so many evil kids that we could talk
Well,
about.
now let's. What I would,
Oh man!
Oh.
You.
I know about 10 of them.
Vote for you now.
yeah.
Not only do I want to know what your regiment is, I want you to represent me in Congress.
I need a workout tape.
Yeah.
But what I want to know about a tape. What the hell? Anyway, I want to know when it comes to you. We talk about an evil kid movie. What would be like the first movie that you go to?
Yeah.
Well, when you ask me that, I guess I think of The Exorcist. What's the movie? What's the other one? Is it the Omen?
The Omen, the Antichrist.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's
That's a flat out evil
Okay,
kid.
no, okay, yeah, no, I have something I want to say about that, but yeah, go
But
ahead.
no. First,
go ahead, Jake, please.
some of your initial
Yeah,
thoughts
please.
of the
Well,
Omen.
I already told you guys that I can't remember as I don't. This isn't.
I'm going to
my-
refresh you. Okay,
This
it's
isn't
really
my thing.
simple.
No, let me just get this
Okay,
out.
okay.
I'm the guest.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm here amongst the people who really understand things. I
Sure.
don't even understand why you have guests, and I think it's maybe just so you have someone to explain things to. It's like,
Exactly.
Actually,
we have been dying for someone to give a shit about this forever.
Right on the
And
money.
now- and now
Right
you
on the
shut up.
money. Yeah.
And so I feel like The Omen is about as far as I can go, and then I'm ready for you to throw that out.
Okay.
And then what's Woody Allen's wife?
Oh, Rosemary's
Ex-wife.
Baby. Yeah,
Rosemary's
of course.
Baby.
No,
Now,
that's
I feel like I'm getting back. I don't want to aggravate.
No,
our,
Well, I'd love to take one at a time because I mean you can't
No,
just throw out
yes,
the Omen
yes, you
and just
can.
walk away. No, the Omen.
hey,
no,
wait,
no,
wait,
no,
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 Hey,
no, no.
oh,
We're
time
gonna
out. Time out.
we're gonna
There's
blend.
no timeout in the
We're gonna
podcast.
blend.
I was just excited that I had a chance to talk, and I didn't really have anything else to say about the Omen, so I'm like, also Rosemary's Baby, and I got another one.
But those are two.
I'll stop. I hope that I get to talk again. Please go ahead.
I don't think so. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I understand.
let
I've
the
already
Omen.
blown it, and I know how I've blown it. I understand the mistakes I've made, and I don't think spanking or church will help.
I think spanking will help.
I'm willing to. I'm willing.
I'm
to
gonna
entertain that
call my wife
possibility.
from upstairs. And
Yeah.
we'll,
All right.
We'll
I
make
do-
things right.
So look,
I do like to be spanked by a lady.
Okay,
you
speaking
know
of
that
you
about
know
me.
what?
spanking.
You and I are simpatico, my friend.
The Omen from
The topic is spanking.
No, it's about evil kids.
All right.
And if I could, I just get to stick to the
Okay,
topic.
so no, wait a minute. No,
1976,
listen to
The
me.
Omen, directed
Yes,
by
The Omen is great.
Richard Donner. What an amazing director! I
He
mean,
is.
and then
He
you have
did-
this great cast.
If I
It's a great
may,
cast.
Yes.
I think you're worried about this episode, but I feel like it's a good episode. Go ahead.
I don't know.
No, this is
I mean,
a good
I-
episode.
I-
Who did you say? Richard Donner?
Yeah.
Richard Donner.
Didn't he go on to direct some big action
Superman.
movies?
Superman, yeah.
Hello.
Danger Island.
Did you live under a rock? Come on, what the hell?
No, I'm the guy who said, didn't he go on to do I'm
Yes.
the guy.
Okay.
Okay, you're lashing out a little too early.
All right.
You gotta. Yeah.
We're actually on the same side.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who wants to do what you do.
Yeah.
I'm the
Don't.
guy.
No, you can't do what I do.
I want to be like you. I want to dress like you. What's that, the Jungle Book?
Oh, perfect evil kid movie.
What's that?
Jungle Book.
No,
Mowgli.
no, it doesn't fall into that category.
Mowgli thinks he's an animal.
You think? Okay, you look. We're talking
He
about
wants to
how do
be
you
a-
get from
he
the
wants to
Omen
be
to
a-
the Jungle Book?
He wants to be a bear. Those things eat you ass
Thank you.
first.
The animals have
wait a
no
minute.
morals.
Okay, wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me when you were a kid? When you were a kid, you didn't say, "Gee, I'd like to be a big gorilla," or
Nope.
"I'd like to big a bear or something," or "I want to be a big wrestler" or something.
No, I want to live in a cage at the zoo. Nope. I want to live in a cage, just not at the zoo.
No. He was out in the jungle, out in the free jungle.
Yeah.
Where there's
Hanging around with
lions and
with-
snakes and leopards and,
Yeah, no.
and chimpanzees.
Going down a
and
bad
stuff.
road.
But
Yeah.
our topic today is evil
Okay.
kids.
So the Omen.
And also,
Omen.
what I wanted to be as a child, that's a different podcast. That's not this podcast.
I agree.
Bonus material.
Dreams of a child.
I agree.
Now,
Okay.
my favorite thing about the Omen is actually it's not until Omen 2 where the kid is like a tween or a pre-adolescent, and he's just coming to realize that he is the Antichrist.
I can't believe you've been allowed to talk about Omen 2 when we have not finished talking
Well,
about
and
Omen
look,
1.
I was going to jump. I was going to jump into him, but
Look,
he's
no,
saying
no.
something. So
I'm the
Yeah, but-
guest, and
but
I
wait.
get shouted down, and he pulls this kind of crap.
It has a little.
This might be my favorite episode.
this is not.
But when it's just a toddler. When he's
Let's
just
go
a
back- yeah, the
when
toddler.
Damien
Yes.
is just a toddler
Yes.
in the original Omen. you're saying that is he aware of? Because I know he has factions working for
Yeah,
him.
doesn't like the big devil hound do everything?
Yeah,
Yes.
but he also there's also the nurse. There's the devil hound.
There's
but I
like
don't think as a child, he knows.
Jake, you have a thought, Jake?
Again, I am the demon child of this episode. And what I would like is for you to quickly kind of explain the plot
Oh, that's
of
a
the
good
movie.
Yes.
Because no one's ever heard of the Omen who listens to this fucking show.
I'm the one
Matt,
who brought it up, and I'm
Matt,
asking.
I agree.
All right, explain the Omen.
For our listeners who don't know what is the Omen.
It turns out we're hosting this thing now.
Okay. James, why don't you explain what the Omen is?
Wow.
Wow, now it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not Omen 2.
No, Omen, the first one.
Yeah.
Talk only about Omen 3, the final conflict.
Gregory Peck and Lee Remick have a baby that's supposedly died in childbirth, so the hospital in Rome gives Gregory Peck a different baby so his wife won't be heartbroken. Turns out the baby is the son of a jackal and is actually the Antichrist. They raise the baby, not knowing it's
Back up,
Antichrist.
son of a jackal?
We are sorry about your baby, and we have this other baby which we would like to give you.
Nice.
I know it was that was a mess of an accent, but
It was a little more Swedish.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you have to do the introduction so like bubbly and happy? It's a serious, intense.
Oh, when
thing.
Can you do it more Chico
there's-
Marx?
Gregory Peck and
No,
Lee
you don't
Remick
know.
have an offspring.
We got this baby.
I want to give you.
I want to give you the Antichrist. I mean,
Anyway.
It's not an antichrist.
It's not.
A lot of people say antichrist.
forget what I say.
It's a nice baby.
It's a
Look,
nice baby. It's a
It
good
laughs.
It's a
baby.
boy.
it laughs with
Yeah.
his teeth.
He
Look how
likes a pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
He likes a calzone.
He likes a pizza with the meat on it.
Let's do some more Italian impersonations. Come on, keep going.
When the
keep going.
kid is like 5 or 6 years old, weird, horrible things start happening to everybody who suspects that he's the Antichrist. They all die in very sort of grandiose operatic
It's like,
ways
it's like
with Jerry
the freak, it's like
Goldsmith
the
music
weird kind of,
playing.
it's like the freak accident.
This
is-
thing,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, just a sidebar.
Yes.
We're going to go around the table. I'm not saying your baby's the Antichrist, but
He's probably the Antichrist. But you have an opportunity to change him.
I've never seen another baby skin a house pet like that.
You know what? You tattoo another 6 on his head, he's no longer the Antichrist.
Anyway, the kid is evil, but he's pretty. Look, like any 5 or 6 year old, he's pretty clueless. I mean, all these horrible things are
All
happening.
he does is
around him.
stare at people.
I mean, he does.
Oh, he
does
has a
not-
great
he does
look,
not-
man.
He has a great look.
Come on.
But he-
No, he's
He has a
fantastic.
great
But he-
look.
He's
he-
fantastic.
Is that him right there? Is that him? Or
No.
No, behind you.
Right,
which
right
one?
He's right
behind you.
We have
Look at the other
pictures.
side.
Oh, my God.
We have
This is-
pictures.
This is great radio.
Oh,
Yeah.
where do you get that hat? That hat looks like a tea cozy.
You know, this was back in 1976. Okay, this was
He
very
wears this
stylish.
little-
This was very stylish at the time, and I believe it was
In-
in,
in-
Europe.
in-
It was in Europe, right?
No, it's good.
well,
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is going to be my
It's very
new
stylish.
show look. My new show look is that.
Well, the Omen was a
Damien,
huge-
But Damien Thorne does, whether inadvertently or not, he kills his mom.
Yes,
Because he's on his tricycle and he knocks her off the balcony or the ledge, whatever, she falls to her
but that's
death.
not what does it.
You know what? He is evil. He is evil.
I think, well, I mean, maybe did he know that he was doing that or
Well,
not? I don't
because
know.
now I have a question now, and now we have to go to the Omen 2.
Yeah.
But I would just like to say there
All
is
right,
a
go.
difference between killing your mom and killing your adopted mom.
Oh, bingo.
You know
Bingo.
what, Jake? You are absolutely right.
So how does a tiny toddler act out? You're not my real mom. Tricycle on the knees. Boom.
it's such a great scene. The way it's done,
Yeah.
too. It's really artistic. It's just beautifully
Yeah. And
the
shot.
music.
But see, so
And the
now
music
here's,
is fantastic.
Here's where I wonder whether at that point he was evil, because if you remember in Omen 2, isn't there a point where he kind of finds out that he's the Antichrist?
Yeah.
And he rages. He's like,
Yes.
why me?
Yes, it's a great.
It's a
moment.
great scene.
It's a
Awesome.
great scene.
Love that.
Telegram from Mr. Damien.
No, that's not
but
how
by-
it happened.
Dear son,
Okay, all right.
you are the Antichrist. Stop. Love Satan.
Now let's just say that the Omen was incredibly successful. Huge
the
hit.
Omen, the Omen was an answer to The Exorcist. I mean, The Exorcist was huge, and this was another
Yeah.
studio's answer to like the whole satanic cinema. Was
Yeah.
huge.
And incredible in the sense that it was an answer to it. It was like, oh, let's do the thing that was successful for these other people. But it was also great.
Yeah, it's a different
It's a
tack
different-
too.
yeah.
And even like what Rosemary's Baby was first, right?
Rosemary's Baby
Yeah.
was probably that was more speaking like the granddaddy of satanic cinema. That was late '60s, and that that was a really effective movie. That was you're right. That was before The Exorcist.
It was-
And it's a
Before the
slow
Omen.
build. It's a
much
real
more, it's much
chiller.
more an exercise in paranoia.
Yeah.
It was so good,
So good.
that the director has been never allowed back in the United States.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I
That's
think
what
there
it
were
was, yeah.
there were other
Yeah.
reasons behind that.
No, I don't think
Jake.
so. I don't think so.
There were other
It was
reasons
because
behind that.
someone killed his baby.
Oh.
I don't want to
Too
go
soon.
No,
Too
no,
soon.
no,
Too soon.
no.
All right,
no.
his unborn baby.
no.
Someone killed his
Too
unborn
soon.
baby.
Yes,
a
I
monster,
understand.
a terrible monster.
Yes,
that is
I-
in. If you want to talk about a demon seed,
Charles Manson.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
really,
All right.
But there's more to it than that. But I think I wanted to get back
right.
to the Omen
This
2.
podcast is not meant to be a comprehensive indictment of the entire 60s.
Isn't
70s.
it? Have you been listening
or
at all?
Is it? Or were they?
We'll do a disclaimer.
In Omen 2, you have another great cast because you have William Holden, who I understand originally he was approached to do the first Omen, and he goes, I don't want to do a film about the devil.
Yeah, until the Omen wrecked into
Until he ran out of booze.
No.
Why
What
don't
happened?
you-
So it went to
why don't
Gregory
you
Peck.
let- why don't you let that hack Gregory Peck take it?
And it was a hugely successful film. And so then when it came around, he goes, well, I want to be attached to this.
To kill a
And-
40 ounce.
And you have him and Lee Grant, and
But like you guys said, like he has this moment where like he realizes he's Satan's son. He's like, "Why me?" But then by the end of the movie, he
Yes.
kind
And
of
he
accepts
and
it.
he's like,
Yeah.
hey,
Like,
wait a
all right,
minute.
all right, I'm taking over.
Yeah,
now. That's
it's
it.
like, there's like a moment where he goes like, wait a minute. Antichrist? Cool.
I feel
You know,
like the
what-
same thing happened to Andrew Dice Clay in his career.
So with the Omen 2, though, what happens is Damien now, since he is now parentless, because both his parents are dead,
Right.
so he goes to live with his uncle, okay?
right.
And so their idea for him, and they have the son of their own, is to send them to, like, military school.
Which if that won't turn you into the Antichrist.
No. It's not going to turn you into the Antichrist. Quite the contrary, my friend.
But this is back to the idea of church and spankings, because military school,
Strict.
it's not church, but the idea that we can
Control
really
you.
Beat the evil out of
we
you.
can force you to stop being the Antichrist.
Yeah.
right.
So,
didn't work on this
Jake,
one.
have you
this
seen
case.
the Omen 2?
No, I haven't. I've barely seen
He read the
Omen.
book, though.
Oh,
No.
Okay. Oh.
I feel like I'm playing a solid game right now. For you to,
I'm glad you're here
Yeah.
to talk about
Yeah.
evil kids, and you've read the book, and but what's so
I
great.
started off by saying I don't know what I'm doing here. Now.
Just play along.
That's all he's doing, man.
But what's great about in Omen 2, there is a really great moment when he's in the military school, and there's this moment where he through the whole film, it's like Damien doesn't actually do anything that is like incredibly outstanding. He's just kind of he's like playing along in a way. But there's this moment where an instructor in the military school gets pissed at him. And he starts questioning Damien. He goes, "Oh, you think you know so much?" And then he starts asking him question after question about military stuff. And Damien just goes, he answers everyone really quick, very fast. And it was at that point when you realize Damien's really got more than like your average kid. It's in his brain, you know?
I think it's a more interesting film than the first one.
I agree.
In some ways, it is. Yeah.
To me, Matt, it like stepped up.
It's different. It's a very different movie,
It's
yeah.
not like I like Damien Omen 2 better than the first one. It's like
But you
I
can't
like
do
them both.
You can't do the first one over again. You have to now bring it someplace else.
Exactly.
Was there a third one?
There was.
Unfortunately, yes.
The
But you know what?
amazing thing though is we're talking about the first movie was they were trying to capitalize on The Exorcist, and you're saying that the second movie was even better than the first movie.
I didn't say that. I say they're both really good.
Different.
They're
Yeah,
different.
But it was a very
I thought you were
successful
saying-
franchise.
I thought you were saying it was better.
No. Listen to me.
I enjoy it more.
Listen,
Me too.
I enjoy it more.
You were saying it was.
I
better.
was saying it.
I did
That's-
not.
No,
Okay, I got it now.
The angle that he
I
doesn't...
need a piece of paper to be able to keep track.
The fact that he
but I
doesn't,
do get it.
That he doesn't know, he's not conscious of the fact that he's the Antichrist until late in the film is kind of interesting, and it's a great angle. It gives the movie a slight dimension that it makes it a cut above.
Now, the third one doesn't actually fall into this
No,
category.
we can't
because
talk
he's
about
an
the third
adult.
one.
Right.
Can't talk about the third one.
No,
But-
and we're not going to.
But I would like
You
to talk.
can't even talk about it?
No,
No,
it doesn't fit in the category.
Doesn't
No, it's done.
exist.
It's done.
He's an adult.
He's
Forget
an
it.
adult.
There's an evil kid, but it's not the Antichrist.
He's evil, but he's not a kid anymore. So
That's right. He's an adult, so we're
It's
moving
not an
on.
evil kid, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's
you
the way
want
we
to talk about it.
That's
do
the way we.
at
That's the way
your
we,
peril.
That's the way we roll here.
You guys are super strict, but
Yeah.
I get it.
But hey,
I get it.
you know what? So
Sean-
wait a minute. I need to talk in conjunction
Yeah.
with the Omen movies. This reminds me of a book by Neil Gaiman that I really enjoy called Good Omens.
Huh?
It's Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, and
That was never made into a movie.
It was-
It's completely idiotic that you would bring up a book. Books have to be read by people. Movies are made by people who have read things, who are talking to about out loud. This is outrageous. I can't believe you.
And yet I love Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. They wrote it together.
That's right. They wrote it together, and it's sort of a satirical omen. So there's two babies. There's one that's being born to this real sweet hippy-dippy couple, and the other one is the Antichrist. There's an accident. They switch them at birth. So now the Antichrist grows up with the hippy-dippy couple and is environmentally conscious and has this group of friends. He's real charismatic. He has his little rascals friends, but he's a sweet kid.
I know this is about Darwin. This
Yeah.
is about
And
good,
then-
this
but
is
wait a
about
minute. So-
evil,
so
and
then-
it's a book. I can't believe it.
But then they
You're bringing this up,
But then the Antichrist people try to raise the non-Antichrist kid,
and they try and make him bad.
and they're like, he has no aptitude for this at all.
Really?
He is
but he
terrible.
But he gives it a shot because he's good.
Well, they
So he
try,
wants to please
but
them.
he's terrible. And so that's just the premise right there. You should read this book. It is so funny.
And what's it called again, Matt?
Good Omens.
And it's by
Neil
Neil
Gaiman and Terry Pratchett.
Is it a novel or a
It is a
graphic?
novel.
All right, cool.
Yes, check it out.
I would like to say you should read almost everything that Neil Gaiman wrote.
Neil Gaiman
he's
is
good.
awesome. He is
He's good.
wonderful.
But again, they're books.
Sandman. Yeah, they're books. You know what I mean? But we have readers in our audience.
He's written some things that have been made into movies. What's the book about the graveyard? But that's not an evil kid. That's a good kid who is raised by ghosts.
What is that? Oh, God.
I think it's
The animated one, right?
I don't think it was made into a
Casper the
movie.
Friendly Ghost?
I thought we were allowed to bring up books.
Is that no?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's a good point. Is Casper an evil kid?
No, he is not. He does not belong.
What about Hot Stuff?
You know?
But he was a kid who done. Oh, you're so mad right now.
We'll get back
All
on
right.
track, my friend.
Now,
Don't worry.
I want us to stop, and I want us to reset, and I want you to do it.
Go, Larry.
See, we all love you, Larry.
No, I just wanted to move on from the Omen.
Yeah,
and
go for
we're,
it.
All right.
you
So
know,
what? So Larry, what do you got next? What do you got?
Well, I have all kinds of things, but another one of my, one of the things I like to do with my kid to introduce her to classic films.
How old is your kid?
My kid is 10 right now, and what I like
Our
to
kids are
do,
almost the same
yeah,
age.
and
is it a boy or girl?
it's a girl.
Okay.
And what I
Girl.
like to do is show her stuff that I think isn't too graphic or gory, but something that's
Right.
like classic and cool, but is like supernatural or spooky and stuff. So we watched The Bad Seed. She absolutely loved it. But there's another film that totally fits into this category,
Okay.
which she really, really loves.
All right.
That's from 1960, Village of the Damned.
Well, that is a great
Excellent.
one.
I know we've talked about this before. It is based on a book called the Midwich
Cuckoos. Yes.
And this is directed by Wolf Rilla, and it's
By a novel from John.
yeah,
Wyndham.
and
British?
it's British, and it's so cool. It takes place in the small town in England, and for some unexplained reason, everyone faints or they lose consciousness for several hours. And what happens is after a while, they all wake up and they learn a couple months later that all of the women
all the women are pregnant.
well, the women of childbearing years,
Yeah.
they're
And
all
I was nowhere near that town.
Yeah,
But that
yeah,
is my
yeah.
first instinct when I see
Yeah.
an unconscious lady, Bill Cosby.
yeah.
Come on.
Now that is not too soon. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Now you have the great George Saunders,
One of my
who's-
favorites.
Yes, and by the way, he does the voice of Shere Khan the tiger from Jungle Book, which I'm sure you will really like.
Another great
and
evil kid movie.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but he plays this. He's like this brilliant, like Professor Zelby, and his wife. He learns his wife is pregnant. And he couldn't be more thrilled. What happens is all of these women all give birth around the same time. Like
Hang
the
on,
same
he
day.
learns his wife is pregnant, but he knows he's not the.
No, he
or
thinks
they've-
he
they've kind of
suspects
been
he is.
busy, so
He
it's
suspects
like,
it. Like
I get
it's
it. I get
like
it.
a suggestion.
It's kaput down south.
I think
Right.
it's suggesting
I've
that
been
they may have
busy.
tried,
Right,
Sean.
right.
They may have tried. But what happens is, as all these women go through their pregnancy, it seems like the children are getting to full term within a short amount of time, like 7 months. And all of the women give birth around the same time, and all of these children that are born, that all seem to be very similar. And as they grow, which seems to be at an expanded rate, They all have same kind of blonde platinum hair. They all seem to be kind of have a higher degree of intelligence than regular children. And what's interesting is since you have this professor and he thinks, hey, look, I'm a brilliant guy. My kid is really going to be really brilliant too.
Sure.
You know?
Everybody believes that it's just a coincidence. Nobody. This is the type of shit that your dog tells you. Like, all these blonde kids are not a coincidence. We've got to kill all these similar children.
Large Ronders.
But see, here's the cool thing, you know, as these kids start to grow up a little bit, and they all kind of like hang out together, and what they learn, Professor Zelby learns that when one kid learns something, they all kind of learn it. So somehow they're all kind of connected a little
They're
bit.
like ants.
Telepathy.
Yeah, and what's a very scary thing is these kids. They don't have emotions like kids. They don't play like other kids. They really stand
Kids'
out.
emotions?
In fact, Jake, what's really, really wild about this is they don't play with the other kids. And they kind of stay together in their own little pack. And they kind of look at you with these really piercing eyes. And they actually kind of can make people do things,
Yeah.
what they're willing them to do.
Yeah.
But
Cut to the chase. These kids are an alien entity.
Yeah.
But there are other kids. So there were other ladies who were pregnant sort of around that time. So they're in school, not just with all other kids.
Yes, I don't think they impregnated anybody who's already pregnant.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
no. But there's a really great. There's one of my favorite scenes is actually when the group of little kids. I think they seem to be about 8 or 9, and they're all walking together in a group. And there's other group of kids. They don't like the blonde-haired kids, and one of the boys kicks the ball and hits a little girl in the head, little blonde-haired girl in the head.
Oh, so
And
there's girls and boys.
Girls and boys, yes.
And this little girl turns, and they all turn. And the look on her eyes is, I am going, in her mind, it looks like she's saying, I'm going to blow you apart. And the little boy David, who seems to be the leader, goes, no, Nancy. Leave them alone. And the way he says it, it's so freaking creepy. And,
English kids are always creepy.
Yeah,
Are you saying your kid likes this movie?
Yes, she loves it.
My daughter
Loves
would be
it.
Freaked the fuck
oh my
out
god, my
about
daughter
this
loves.
thing.
Well, first of all, I always watch these films with her, so she has a question she can ask me.
Absolutely. This
Is
not
this
the
how
kind of
I
thing
should
like,
live my life?
I've already
No,
seen
no, no,
this.
no, no.
No, honey.
I've already seen this. Why don't you watch this, and then we'll have a Q&A after.
But see, the frightening thing about this is that
DVD commentary.
as these kids get older and they can manipulate people and people don't like them and they make a guy like burn up, like catch fire, another guy shoot himself, and so you have the professor who actually senses that, look, I don't know where these kids are going to go, but they have this very powerful mind control and I'm going to have to stop them. But since they can read your mind, you can't say, well, I guess I'm going to shoot them, because they can read
Yeah.
that.
So, cut to the chase.
They're hybrid.
They're
hybrids
aliens,
of impregnated
This is
mothers.
an
from
alien
aliens.
came
This
and
is an alien.
simultaneously-
Basically, that's what
Right.
it is. And we don't want to.
I don't wanna
Spoiler
spoil
alert that
it.
one.
I don't wanna- no.
because it's a
Don't?
great ending.
We don't?
It's
No,
a great
I
ending.
don't. I
Okay.
don't. Now, and I want to make sure that our listeners don't get this mixed up with there was a
Wait, what
A
was this?
remake.
What
a
was-
remake.
What
it was
was
a 1990. What?
What's the name of it again?
Village of the Damned from 1960. Now, there was a remake by John Carpenter, who is a director I really respect
love,
and
but,
admire, and I love him. But this
Yeah,
was made in
his heart
1995.
wasn't in it, though.
Well, my understanding is he was more like a director for hire. Here, John, do this. Jump
Yeah,
in here.
it's-
Right.
And
You can pass this one.
and there's they threw in some things in the new version which to try to make it, I don't know, more human or and it just doesn't do the trick.
No.
Was
doesn't work.
Adrian Barbeau in the new one?
I wish.
No. But Chris
Alley,
Alley
right.
and Christopher Reeve, which is
I'm out.
it's
I'm out.
It's an
Yeah,
interesting
I'm
casting.
with you.
But getting back the 1960, it's a great classic movie. I highly recommend.
Wasn't there a sequel to that, Children of the Damned?
Children of the Damned, which
yes.
is basically
It's 1964,
and it's really just the same movie, except they don't have matching hair, which is then you've removed
But
one
see-
of the creepy elements.
But yeah, exactly, Matt. And the other thing too, it's not just the hair. It's more like a good thing. It's like these kids have a higher degree of intelligence, and they're really not necessarily evil kids. It's like they're so intelligent,
So it doesn't count.
No, people feel that they're a threat because they know
Yeah,
so
no,
much.
no,
and it's
that's-
a different
that
ending. And
doesn't
James, I
fit.
was so my daughter
Doesn't
and I.
fit.
This is
My
like the-
daughter actually said that she did not like that one.
No, it's
she
not- no,
preferred.
no,
Village
never
of the
mind,
Damned.
yeah.
This is like the children of the Tea Party.
I'm
Kids are too smart,
I'm
and
not
so they've got
familiar
to be killed.
with the. Wait, I'm not familiar with that movie. What?
well, it's a
I'm
work
saying,
in progress.
I'm saying that
it's a pitch.
we're afraid of them because they're smart. That doesn't seem right. You know, it reminded me of a movie that's not about an evil child, but it's called Golden Child, and it's about a nice child, but they're trying to turn it into an evil child. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Charles Dance is Satan? Was it something like that?
Or an evil?
I
was
wish-
it Satan?
I think it was Satan.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was a sweet. It's a funny movie.
I've actually never watched that.
They keep trying to feed this kid like oatmeal with blood in it to turn it evil, but the kid is like a little Dalai Lama Buddha.
Sure.
And it won't eat it. It just like refuses to eat the devil oatmeal, and Eddie Murphy.
It
has
just
to
goes to
save
show
the
you,
kid.
though, that evil kids have a choice. And if they don't
I just
pay
like
attention to that choice, then they're assholes.
Either you're an evil kid or you're not, and no amount of spanking or church can help a kid who's evil, and no amount of oatmeal full of blood can turn a good kid bad.
Although I'm not a big oatmeal fan. I think blood might help.
You have to have it the right temperature. If you boil it, it gets weird.
Yeah.
But if it's too cold, it's also not good.
I agree.
Well, thank you, Jake, for bringing up the film that doesn't belong in
No,
the
no.
evil.
Well, no, it's adjacent.
Evil,
It's adjacent.
I feel like I'm a wild card, and I've been added for this purpose.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sean?
I can't wait to get back to the notes that I didn't get any of the notes that you guys had. It seems like you've all been emailing each other.
No,
No.
for years.
No,
No, I get it.
no.
Sean, what do you got?
Oh, I like to say another kind of classic film, which was also a novel from the 70s. It's a great evil kid movie. Is The Other?
Oh
my gosh, Sean,
I love that film.
Did you ever see this movie?
It's so good.
The Other is kind of like
I need to have it explained.
It's like it's kind of like a small community, a farm community, and there's this kid who has like a twin brother, and the twin brother is kind of like the evil one who keeps kind of like he's always whispering in his ear to do something, do the bad thing, but you don't know if this other twin is like real or just
Or an imaginary
imagination
friend.
Yeah.
of this boy. And
You be
it's
the
really good. It's
judge.
really dark.
Try and
movie.
sell that to your mom.
It's so
It's very
Sean.
very-
It's so good. It's so well done. And there's it's not is it a maid?
Why didn't
that
I think
always-
of that?
There's a maid that always tries to.
yeah, Uta Hagen
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
the maid who kind of like the Henry Jones character in The Bad Seed. Who
Yeah.
kind of is in on what's going on.
But she's
kinda,
nice, but
not-
she's nice.
yeah.
And the kid has like a weird psychic power where he can like put his mind in animals and birds
it's really
and
strange.
stuff like that.
It's actually based on a novel by Tom Tyrone, and Tom Tyrone was an actor, and he was the guy who played the husband in I Married a Monster from
That's
Outer
right.
Space.
That's
I love
right.
that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't belong in this podcast, but
No,
I love that
but
movie.
he
And the
wrote novel.
sequel.
Well, no, if
the
you
sequel,
want something that doesn't belong in this podcast, Game of Thrones has that kid in it who can put his brain into animals.
Oh
go.
well,
And is he
we'll get to
evil
Game
or
of
not?
Thrones
Okay,
because
good.
there's some evil kids in that
that.
fucker. But the sequel, The Other, is not to be missed.
Yeah, that's
Well,
pretty
and
good.
like The Omen, the other has a great score by Jerry Goldsmith.
That's right. Yeah.
And what year was the other made?
The other was 1972. This is one I know is a favorite of Matt's.
Well, wait.
Here we go.
Where can you watch the other? Is that?
It's on DVD. It's on Netflix.
You can probably find. I'm sure you can find it on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
It's
It's-
good.
I've got to
Netflix.
listen to this again so I can write.
No,
down.
no. I'm seriously. We're here to help. Like we know this shit.
No, I'm loving all of these
yeah.
ideas.
There's a great film. I think it's partly Spanish-made movie.
I think I know.
1976,
Which-
and it's really great. It's called "Who Can Kill a Child."
Otherwise known as Island of the Damned.
This is a great film. This is like basically a couple go to this island, and there's no adults.
good.
There's no adults around. They know what's going on, and there's only the kids. The kids are just hanging out, and basically the kids have just turned evil and have killed all the adults.
And you don't really know why. Like all of a sudden they've
Oh, I
just
know why.
gone. Well, yeah, they finally realized
It's
they can
like-
do it.
I know
but it's
why.
like it's kind of like
Grown-ups?
It's like the Rick Reynolds
Are you
joke.
kidding me? Grown-ups? Do
Do you remember the Rick Reynolds joke?
Yeah, they're always trying to limit how many cookies you can
Right,
have.
right.
They would kill you. A kid would kill you for a cookie.
Exactly.
They don't understand. They don't understand
Yeah,
the permanence
exactly.
of death
it's kind
generally.
of like the birds with kids.
Yes,
It's just
very
suddenly,
very good.
Just like
comparison.
Why? But the creepiest scene in the movie, the most disturbing scene to me in the film, the couple who go to this island, the woman is pregnant. So it's kind of like almost, you don't really know, but it's almost like this island is where it's emanating, it's turning the kids.
Oh, as if she's been drawn there
suddenly-
for new children?
So suddenly, just there's a scene where she just suddenly bends over in pain. It's like her fetus is killing her from inside.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
How great is
The
that?
kids
Yeah.
are looking at her and they're like telling the fetus, like,
Get her,
kill
get her.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
This is what I would say to those children.
Yes.
This is like gay people need us, straight people, for there to be more gay people.
Continue.
Because gay people can't reproduce on their own. They need us to
To make more gay people. Okay. All
And
right.
that's what I would say to children. It's like you can't kill all the grown-ups. You're going to need some grown-ups.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you kill
That's
yourself
true.
as soon
That's
as you
true.
go
Probably
through
just need
puberty.
7 though, right? Or
yeah.
No, you need.
This is like these
few.
utopian societies. They always fall on hard times because
True.
their dreams are too big for
Right.
them. You have to just
If it was just kids, they couldn't. They couldn't.
Although-
reach,
you got to make friends
you
with
can't-
reality,
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, right.
You know what
You
the
need
scene
some
that I
adults.
thought you were going to bring up too, which I love that scene. But there's also the scene when they first start to realize that the kids are going bad. Is it like these kids are all like running through the streets saying "ha" and laughing, and it's just creepy. But then they turn a corner and they see like this dead guy on a rope, and the kids are like smacking him like he's a pinata to open up his guts.
And that is not how we treat a dead guy that we
Yeah.
find in the street.
And
Everybody
that-
knows that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a whole subgenre of kids taking over society and trying to build a society of their own.
Oh, Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies is like
Lord of the
Great
Flies.
example.
Talk about evil kids. That's a great movie.
You know, I'll go along with that.
yeah. Those kids.
Well,
those kids are terrifying by the end.
But that's
Yeah.
kind of the example where the shipwrecked boys are on the island and they revert to savagery.
Yeah.
Right.
Being
Yeah.
in that situation. Yeah.
Right.
So, but yes, it's like, and they just become.
And wouldn't a child revert to savagery quicker than anyone else because they're barely
Right, they're more-
They're
they're
adopted.
barely
older.
civilized anyway.
Right. Right.
They're
Yeah,
adopted.
they're not like us.
Yeah.
But probably the single movie that popularized that in our generation was Children of the Corn.
Oh,
1994.
yeah.
Right.
Everybody, like most people, when you bring up evil kids, they always go to that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that's from-
Malachi and what was the kid's name?
Right. Based on a Stephen King book.
Right.
Or
Stephen
short
King's story.
Short
Yeah.
story, right?
It was a night shift.
And it was this was 1984.
That was
And,
a good year.
with Peter Horton and Linda Hamilton.
Right. It was about 30 sequels.
Yeah,
Yes, there were
tons of
so many sequels.
Yeah.
And how many sequels can you do about some kids in corn?
I think that was too scary for me. I don't think I even saw it because it was too scary. Children of the Corn.
You know what though? You should see it because it's not that
Here's
scary.
here's my but
Really?
this is my issue. This is my issue with Children of the Corn. My issue with Children of the Corn, it kind of gets me. It in a way, kind of like Lord of the Flies. Here's what happens. So you have this one kid. And I'm trying to remember the head kid's name.
Well, there was Malachi. I don't remember.
No. Malachi's the redhead kid. He's like
There was a redhead kid, and there was the kid with the hat.
Job or Job or
I think. And you know, that actor has been at Monsterpalooza. He's been to conventions. That kid looks exactly the same now.
Robbie
I'm
Okay,
so sorry.
here's the thing.
Maybe
No,
it's
let me
because
get
he's really evil.
Let me get to the point. The point is so you have the main little kid who basically gets all these other kids together to attack all the adults in the town and stuff. And so all the kids follow what this little kid does. And then what happens is then there's this one kid, Malachi, and Malachi seems like he's the one that maybe is the oldest kid in the group, and he seems to be the most violent or whatever. He's the redhead kid, the really homely kid or whatever.
Right.
And then what you have is all the kids follow this one central kid. Then all of a sudden, as you get towards the end, they all kind of go against the leader. They all kind of attack him,
Right,
and
so
he
kind of like
actually
a mutiny.
Yeah, it's like a mutiny.
And the whole thing with the Children of the Corn is that there are these kids that live in this like desolate town. They've killed off all their adults, and they're all kind of servicing this evil entity that
He who
lives in the
walks-
corn.
He who walks between the rows, among the
Yes,
rows,
among the
yeah,
rows,
the
yeah.
corn, yeah.
Yeah, that's Stephen King in a nutshell.
There you go.
He's
There
all
you
about
go.
like, what if that pencil was evil? What would happen to all the erasers?
God, that is Stephen King.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know, James is actually a Stephen King specialist.
What if corn turned on us?
Stephen King has given
Ethanol.
us so many evil children. One scene, actually, Salem's Lot has a very memorable scene in a school bus where all the kids are vampires.
I love that.
Oh, my
love
God.
that.
That's my idea. Was the vampire? What's the one where Kiefer Sutherland is a vampire?
Oh, Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. I mean, that's some evil children,
Yeah,
right?
evil
I mean, I get it.
teenagers,
They're
I guess.
vampires.
Yeah.
I hate that movie.
You know, I don't hate that movie,
I hate
but
it.
you know, I mean,
It's a product of its time.
they're not.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I guess they're not really children.
I
No,
kinda-
they're
teenagers.
yeah.
I like that movie, but I just want us to all agree vampires are evil, right?
They are. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Well,
we can agree on
well,
that.
no, no.
The victims
no.
of vampires aren't
No?
evil, but
Vampires-
they're made evil after they become vampires.
But you
So
see,
then they're evil.
Some,
You don't blame the victim. You blame the disease. All right?
Exactly.
I have a problem. It's not that I am a terrible person. It's that once I have a couple of drinks, I get to be terrible.
Wow.
And speaking of Salem's Lot, the scene in the movie,
Seamless.
in the movie,
Relentless.
where the kid, I don't think it's it's probably in the book, but in the movie in particular, where I guess it's Brad Savage who is floating up the window.
That's the creepiest scene in that whole thing.
I agree,
The whole
man.
6-hour miniseries. That's
yeah,
the
and it
most.
feels like
But
6
James,
hours.
James, tell us what happens in the scene.
He's trying to be let in by Mark Petrie.
He's kind of scratching at the
And he's
glass.
floating.
Lance Kerwin is playing Mark Petrie, and
Right.
The great Lance Kerwin.
He's James at 15.
James.
But he is a vampire.
He is a vampire.
And he wants to be let in.
He wants to be let in.
He's scratching the glass.
Let the
glass.
right one in.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll do
Okay.
that next.
Oh yeah.
That's vampires again, though.
Well, there's your segue.
But
Well, there you
that's
go.
a kid, though.
But now that movie. Now, have you seen both versions? Because there's Let the Right One In, which is unbelievable, so great.
Excellent.
Yeah,
film.
terrific.
And I have to-
That's the Icelandic or whatever.
Icelandic,
it is,
yeah,
version.
where you've got this vampire little girl who makes
Lady looked like a dude, though.
she looks very
dude,
European.
Dude looked like a lady. Doesn't it turn out?
She looks very European.
Yeah, okay.
But she makes friends with this little kid Oscar.
Not the first time she's done that.
Yeah, no, and she's a
Spoiler
very
alert.
old soul, let's just say.
Yeah.
And this kid is bullied, and then she kind of becomes this kid's protector, and it's so wonderful. And then I saw the remake, which was with Chloe Grace Moretz,
right.
and that's not bad either. That's
Okay.
yeah, that is not a bad remake.
But it's the idea that too, like the father would do anything to kind of he's the enabler with her, you know.
Well,
'Cause it's kinda
No,
like in the
no, that's
original-
the
not
father-
That's not
in
the father. In the
the
original,
father-
that's the first boy.
That's
that
the
she-
first little
Oh,
boy,
right. But he's like he'll do anything to keep like he just
Right,
lets
because
her kind of
she doesn't
suck in.
age, and
That's
so
right,
he's been
that's right.
aging,
He's
and
like but he's like the father, but he's
yeah,
not. Right.
He would rather not be.
right.
And the remake is called Let Him In?
Or just let me.
It can't be
Let
him in.
me in.
Let
yeah,
me
it's
in.
got to be let me in because
Okay.
you don't find out the truth about the
Now,
gender of the.
I just wanted to ask James, what was the date on Salem's Lot? By the way,
78.
78.
The TV series, the miniseries, not the novel. The novel was
Okay.
a couple years
All right.
before.
Well, here's one that is kind of a question of whether this child is evil or not. Do you remember the little girl who lives down the lane?
Oh,
I love that movie.
I don't think so.
But see,
Well,
this
but
is
that's-
a subject to interpretation kind
Yes,
of situation.
yes.
Okay, what's the date on that, Sean?
1976. Jodie Foster,
Jodie Foster.
Martin Sheen,
Yeah.
Scott Jacoby,
Yes.
and it's kind of
Who
like
is
Jodie Foster.
Bad Ronald, by the way, another evil kid. But
Yeah.
that's for another episode.
Yeah.
But Jodie Foster, she's kind of like a preteen girl
Yeah.
who lives by herself, and she's always referencing or talking about her parents, but you never see her parents.
Right.
This is not Nell.
No. No.
All right.
But she's pretty sympathetic.
It's the more
isn't she?
entertaining version of
okay.
Nell. Yeah.
But go ahead, Sean. And people suspect she talks about her dad or something. Oh yeah, my dad's here.
Basically, it's like you don't know what happened to him. There's this kind of dark feeling, like did she kill them? And Martin Sheen is like this kind of predatory.
He's a full-out child molester.
Yeah,
And he's the
really
creepiest.
He is
This is
one of the greatest villains.
Yeah, this is 1976. This is like very young Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great
At
part.
his creepiest.
And
Yeah.
he wants to find out what the hell's going on. He also wants to kind of get Jodie to do some things to her. And,
Yeah.
and this kind of battle of wits with them.
That was-
and it's like you don't know what's going on. It's a creepy movie.
And
but-
he finds out basically that she's been knocking off people that are either getting too close to her
yeah,
or
basically just like who are her enemies. you
Yeah.
know? I mean,
But you see, I don't
and they
know.
are bad people who are going after her.
That's the
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
That's my argument, Sean. I mean, it's like I don't really know if she's evil. She's
Well,
kind
that's
of
the
like
question. Is she
she's
evil?
protecting herself away. But
right.
I will agree with you. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a really good movie. It's
really
early
awesome.
Jodie Foster, but she's
Yeah.
terrific in it.
There's a great scene with Martin Sheen where he's got her hamster.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's just this creepy, and he goes, "You love this little hamster, don't you?" And she's like, "Yes, I do." And he just throws it in the fire.
Oh my God! Does she kill him or does he kill her?
Don't. No,
Really? You can't tell me about the end of a movie from 1978?
Okay, I'm going to tell.
trying
Look, I'm going to tell him.
I'm
Martin
just-
Sheen is redeemed at the end.
That's what I'm trying to say.
He becomes mayor of the town.
That was back in the day when a child molester, if he was a heterosexual, was given a chance to be the good guy.
All we're gonna
What Love Boat did you watch?
I'm just trying to,
all we're gonna say it's a great
I'm
movie.
trying to ask the question because you're saying that she's the evil child, but it sounds like he's worse than her.
No, he's terrible.
See,
That's the point.
I'm disagreeing.
That's the point.
I'm
Yeah,
disagreeing with Sean.
It's a movie that,
Yeah.
I don't
it's
actually
a
think of her as
movie
being
that-
evil.
Do the ends justify the means kind of a thing?
Right.
Yeah, this
movie
is
that
more of a
posits that
Charles
question.
Bronson movie, but with a little kid as Charles Bronson.
It's a movie that posits the
go.
question.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the movie we should make.
Yeah.
Death Wish with a kid.
Now, I will say this, though. I mean, I want to go to a real evil kid. And, Sean, you tell me if I'm right. Now, I want to jump back to television. There's a classic Twilight Zone episode called It's a Good Life.
One of my favorite evil kids.
Now, it was actually written by Jerome
Billy
Bixby.
Mooney.
Jerome
Billy
Bixby, who actually did a bunch of Star Trek episodes. He also co-wrote Fantastic Voyage, I think. But this is a really cool classic Twilight Zone episode.
Nightmarish.
Is there a scarier Twilight Zone episode than that one?
It is
I
really
don't think so.
disturbing.
And like
It
when they
is.
tried to remake this particular story in Twilight Zone,
the movie,
just fell flat.
Yeah, so
because they try to redeem the kid, and you don't want to do that.
Okay, for listeners, if you're not familiar which episode this is, there's this little boy. Actually, there's a family that lives out in like Ohio or something.
Yeah,
Like
it's like a little farm
It's
community.
a little farm community, and for some reason, there's this little boy. With this family, he kind of has this very strange power. The power
can-
that
he can make anything happen.
He basically, when he says it or wills it, things happen. And the tricky thing about it is, it's better be a good idea not to make this kid upset at you because he might turn you
he'll
into
fuck
a
you up.
stick of gum and throw you out in the
well,
in the
because he can
cornfield.
also read your mind.
Yes, he
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Now,
He's trouble.
This
He's
is
our-
it's season 3, episode 8. This aired in 1961, and I think directed by James Sheldon, who did a bunch of other Twilight Zone episodes. Billy Mooney, who was in Lost in Space, plays this
So
little
good.
boy, and he's actually so good. And it's so the family has to kind of walk on pins and needles. Okay,
Yeah.
you got to treat this kid really carefully
Because
So
he'll
this
send
kid-
you to the cornfield. Again, what's with the corn?
He won't just
But the
send you there. He'll wish you into
He'll wish you.
And,
Very good.
so the kid always wants to have cartoons on. We're always going to eat like French
Okay, well,
fries.
that's reasonable.
No. He's and there was this really sad moment where I guess there's this uncle.
I wish he
and
could
it's-
wish my thighs away.
All right. But the uncle, it's like it was almost like it was the straw that broke the camel's back. This uncle, it was his birthday party. We're all gonna have a birthday party. He wanted to listen to some special music that he likes. But Anthony doesn't want to
He
listen.
wants to watch cartoons.
He does,
and dinosaur movies.
And the uncle gets a little upset.
Really, I like this kid. But
This is a bad move because he kind of goes through this tirade. He kind of has this moment where he kind of says it. It's
go! He's like goading everybody else
Yeah.
in the party, going like, "Go behind him, hit him in the head,
Yeah.
You have
do it."
Yeah.
a couple of drinks or something?
Yeah, he gets drunk. That's right.
And,
yeah.
and everyone was really nervous.
And then the kid turns when he turns.
And when he turns, and he has this thing, "You're a bad
You're a
man.
bad
You're
man."
a very bad man." And then he has this thought and changes the uncle into a Jack-in-the-Box.
Yeah.
And it's weird because the way it's done in this way, it's classic 60s television, but it's still so freaking creepy. How you see the guy's head with a little cone head, and then you see a silhouette of the Jack-in-the-Box.
Really well
and
done.
it's so creepy. And then the dad comes up to his son and goes, "Wish into the cornfield, son. Wish into the cornfield." And it vanishes. And everyone has to say, "Oh, you did a good thing."
That was a
Yeah,
good
there
thing
was
that
a
you
good
did.
sort of relief. I love it. The Jack in the Box thing was because like we'd like to wish him in. We'd like to have him be a half lion, half snake with a tongue of the devil. They're like, we can't do that. Okay, we'd like for him to be a lizard with and then we can't do that. I go, okay,
Rod, what do you got for me?
What about a Jack in the Box with just his
Okay,
head on it?
tell you
All
what.
right, okay, we can do that.
We're doing a farm picture. We got a cornfield.
It's one of my favorite classic Twilight Zone episodes. And Matt, you are right. So it's such a classic that when they were doing the Twilight Zone, the motion picture, and this was the
Yes.
movie, and so it was an anthology. There were 4 stories. They were done by different directors.
Joe
Spielberg
Dante
did one,
did it.
and Joe Dante did this one. And it's so weird. He tried to put give it a little extra spin. First of all, it's in color, and we're having like
They could make him into a lizard with a.
they could have they could have,
Yeah.
and they.
But it's a very interesting thing that happened though, because now they have the money and the special effects to do this on a big budget, and it goes too
too far. It's
Yeah.
too much.
Is this the movie where Vic Morrow got killed?
Yes, yes. And they do a bunch of things with, like, they turn the parents into, like, cartoon characters and all this kind of stuff. And it's too much.
just
They
not as
take
effective.
advantage of all the special effects that they could do.
And then they
it's
ruin
funny
it.
because I wasn't thinking about that when I said the thing about the Jack in the Box. But it's like too few limitations caused a worse movie.
Right. And then, like, with the Twilight Zone, by wishing them into the cornfield, you actually, it's almost like old radio where you
Yeah.
get your
Imagine.
imagination.
You got to imagine.
So
it.
Matt, wouldn't you agree with me that like the one in color done by Dante, it's not nearly as terrifying.
It's not terrifying at all.
at all.
It's somewhat humorous
Yeah,
at times.
yeah.
But,
Well,
and then they redeem the kid at the end.
But
Yeah,
also,
that's the thing
wasn't the original, like, Twilight Zone was so allegorical? Wasn't the original episode sort of an allegory? I interpreted it as nuclear weaponry and how, we were in a new territory.
fuck.
Oh man,
look,
where did you
look,
get that?
Look, there had to be some interpretation. It was just too strange of a story just to be taken at face value.
No,
right?
I took it at face value.
No, I took it as an allegory. That suddenly the world was at a point where it could destroy itself with atomic bombs, and suddenly we all had to be really careful walking on pins and needles. I took it like that.
That's
I can't,
interesting. That's an interesting way of
that
it.
was my take.
All right. Well, here's if we're going to talk about evil kids.
Yeah.
And this is kind of on the line because some of these kids aren't evil, but the situation brings out the evil in them. Came out in the year 2000, the movie Battle Royale. And Battle Royale,
Wow.
Battle Royale is kind of the predecessor to the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
If you like the Hunger Games, find Battle Royale.
Well, it's
Japanese,
I'll have to do
it's
that.
a much darker, more brutal version
way more
of
dark,
video game.
directed by famous director Kinji Fukasaku, who also did The Green Slime, another,
I love.
another favorite of ours. But it's a movie about these kids who, in this near future, if there's a class in school that are kind of the fuck-ups, what you do is to keep discipline in line, you take that class, you put them on an island, and you make them hunt each other until there's one left.
And then what do you do with that kid?
And then the one kid gets to go free.
You're the most. Congratulations, you're the most terrible.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a forced Lord of the Flies.
Yes,
in a way,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And it's great because, of course, in this entire class, not everyone's going to be a psychopath, but the situation does bring out the worst in some. And, like, the cliques that you find in high school get even worse. So, like, the popular
Yeah.
Well,
hot
don't-
girls are even more
But don't
terrible.
you want to avoid being one of these? It seems like people are competing to get chosen to go to this.
No, they're not going to be.
No,
They're
no.
chosen like
They have
all.
no idea.
The bad class doesn't know that they're going to be picked for this. So
They
like
think they're going on a field
They think
trip.
they're going on a field trip, and all of a sudden, gas knocks them all up, and they wake up in this room, and their old teacher, who's kind of been disgraced by the fact that they have this shitty class, is
It's
like
Takeshi, beat Takeshi.
B. Takeshi, the amazing B. Takeshi. And so now he's sort of guiding them through their experience on this island. And it is so great. It's so brutal and yet so effective and such a better version, I think, of the Hunger Games.
Well, to me, the amazing thing about the Hunger Games, which I know we're not talking about the Hunger Games,
No,
but
that fits in
the
here.
amazing thing about that is it is children murdering each other.
Yeah.
And my daughter wants to watch it, and I kind of said to my wife, I don't think she's going to like it really because they're not all evil. There's some bad kids in
But
there.
they're forced into the situation.
They're forced into the situation. But some of them are pretty bad.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, and it's children murdering other children. It's terrible.
Speaking of which, I have another movie.
Go, man.
That I really like and that I think is very underappreciated. Came out in 1980, and it's called The Godsend.
Oh, you turned me on to that.
The Godsend.
I love
is,
that movie.
I don't know that
think
one,
at
Sean.
face value, people look at it as an Omen ripoff, but it's actually a much more subtle and much more elegant movie than The Omen. The Godsend is this English couple.
1980.
1980.
Yeah, they have they already have 3 kids or so, and Angela Pleasance, who's
Yep, yes.
Donald Pleasance's daughter,
And
looks exactly like Donald Pleasance.
Wow. You know Donald Pleasance.
but with hair.
Yeah,
Donald,
but weird,
barely
so
though,
weird.
like thin
Yeah,
hair.
like weird. Yeah.
Like she's gonna go bald like a second
So a very creepy
after this movie.
Yeah, a very creepy Angela Pleasance basically just leaves a baby with them, and then she just leaves.
Blonde too, right?
Yeah, a little angelic little blonde baby, and then she just she doesn't talk, and she's like, "Who are you?" And like, "We'll get you help. We'll find out where you belong." And then she just disappears next morning. She's gone. It's like so they're left with this baby. Like we have no idea. Do we need another kid? Well, I guess so. They take in this kid as part of their family, and the kid grows up to be this very angelic, little girl. But she
First warning sign.
kind of like the bad seed, but in a much more subtle way. She starts killing off all the other kids.
No.
And it's like, but you never, like, it's kind of like an accident. You're not sure. The mom isn't sure. But the thing is, the movie is done. The movie can be taken at face value as a completely non-supernatural movie, actually.
Yeah.
Or it could be like, who was Angela Pleasance? What is
behind this?
Is it the daughter of Satan? It's a really creepy movie. It's a dark movie. It's beautifully acted. It's basically about infanticide. It's like these kids are just being killed off. And
she kills them when they're babies, or
well,
no? They're more
different ages.
Different ages. Like I think one's 5, one's like 3. Like, but it's really well done. It's a really good horror film. 1980, The Godsend. I think it's on Blu-ray now from Shout Factory.
I also think that around the time that you suggested that movie to me, I think you also suggested one of my favorite killer evil children movies, and that is The Children.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
A movie called The Children,
It's
1980.
ridiculous and goofy. And
Yeah.
and-
Well, 1980 was a good year. It turns out.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Very much so.
The school bus full of kids goes through a radioactive cloud.
There we go. Radio, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
happen to drive through it. And
all of a sudden, they have black fingernails.
yeah, the kids turn into zombies with black fingernails. That's how you can tell they're evil. And basically, they're kind of now highly radioactive. And they just kind of like lurk around. They walk up to you and go, Mama, I love you.
And whenever they touch you, they just fry you.
Yeah, they hug
serious?
you.
Yeah.
You like melt away.
Well,
And but the best part of the movie is, for some reason, the only way to kill them is to cut off their hands.
You're kidding.
That way they can't touch you.
It's in their hands.
They
So, like,
can't touch you
there's
if you
these-
cut off their
there-
hands.
yeah.
So simple.
Yeah.
Or gloves? I don't know. Rubber gloves?
But so there's like these
Put
ridiculous
gloves on,
scenes.
mittens.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
mittens on them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now it's just a regular kid.
Yeah. So there's all
They're
these
fine. Don't let him
ridiculous
take his.
scenes.
He has to keep his mittens on when he takes it back. All right.
Don't
We'll
take
be,
his gloves off. He
We'll
gets
be-
a little weird.
We'll be home at 10:30,
Yeah.
but don't let him take his gloves off.
He likes fish fingers.
So you guys brought up you have 3 films that I'm not that familiar with, and I'm going to have to check out. So you got 1980, The Children, and also The Godsend.
Godsend.
Yeah.
And from
Great
2000, Battle Royale. 'Cause
Battle
those
Royale.
3, I
Oh, you
have not
need to
seen-
see Battle
No,
Royale.
I know.
Now I want to throw out a movie. Then just
Go.
What about this show, The Return? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
That French show. And there's some spooky kids
That
in
is
that.
a great show.
And I wouldn't go so far as to say they're completely evil, but that's what's interesting about that series is they're these people that have died, but they're back, and you don't know for sure, like why
they're
here.
back. It's a French. It's a French horror TV show that they've done in America, which I've not seen the American version.
I haven't seen the American
but the
version
French
either.
one is brilliant.
Because it's unanswered. Like,
Yes.
you're sort of okay with, like, you're watching the show going, what you do find out a little bit more about what's going on or what these dead people want. But there's a couple of them that are children that
Super
are really,
spook-
like, spooky.
super scary. And and it's like these dead kids all of a sudden just start coming back.
And they're not, they look like they're not dead.
They look like they're not. They look like they're
alive.
totally fine.
And like, where were you? And they kind of can't answer
like they
that
don't even know.
question.
They're like, "Well, I'm just coming home."
Yeah.
And they go, well, here, you can have your bedroom back. But then they don't really sleep.
Yeah, and there's something really off about them, but they are still kind of who they are, but then they're not. And then there's also like they're very intent on bringing up past issues that they had in the family, and so that's kind of part of why they've come back.
It totally plays on this idea of anyone who's lost someone then feels like, oh, I wish that they were back. But then if they just showed back up,
Right.
it's like,
No.
this is not what I meant.
No, no.
because they're not a zombie, but they just like they ask really awkward questions.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a really good show.
Yeah.
You guys, if you haven't seen that, you must check that show. The French version,
What's it called?
The
The
return.
Return.
The Return.
Very close to that subject, Pet Cemetery.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
totally,
I was
very
wondering
much.
when you guys were going to get to Pet
in a much
Sematary.
more like obvious, flagrant way, but
Yeah.
not so subtle way. But yes,
No.
yes, Pet Sematary.
Now,
So
the
you-
Gage Creed, that character, that kid, that icon, now he's like, that movie was made in the 90s, but that seems to be so popular right now.
yeah,
It is.
There's T-shirts of the kid.
Yeah.
It's somehow caught on.
Now, James, as a Stephen King fan,
Yes.
what do you think of the novel, the movie,
And explain
comparisons?
very
How do you
very
feel?
Basic what the premise is.
Pet Cemetery from 1989, Stephen King novel,
Sometimes
directed by Mary Lambert.
That is better.
Fred Gwynn, right?
Fred Gwynn, yeah.
That's right.
No, it's a family that lives in a kind of a rural area, and they live by a road.
Let me guess,
that-
in Maine.
In Maine, of course. They live by a road that a lot of big trucks drive by, and The family cat gets run over. Fred Gwynn, who's the neighbor, tells the dad, hey, you can bury the cat in the pet cemetery. And
Thanks a lot, Fred.
Yeah. So the cat comes back. It's not quite the cat that they remember it
Wait,
being.
so they bury the cat.
They bury
So
the cat in
this
the pet
area of the
cemetery.
cemetery
And
has kind of magic.
Yeah, it
cat
smells a little bit, and
It's the Micmac burial ground, and the cat does come back, which is fascinating. The cat is a little more hostile. Then, as you could predict, the baby, Gage Creed, the youngest son, he's out on the road. He gets run over by a truck, and the family's devastated. So the dad, of course, as you do, buries the kid in the pet cemetery, and the kid comes back, and the kid is
Car 54, where are you?
And sometimes dad is better. The kid is homicidal.
So the
And
kid is
he's
not.
He's got a scalpel because his dad's a doctor, and the kid is he murders Fred Gwynn. Spoiler.
I love the scene, and is it Fred Gwynn where the kid gets him in the Achilles heel?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that hurts. I'm like, ooh.
That's a bad injury.
That's a bad injury.
Yeah, you don't want to lose. But also, listeners, if you have a chance to resurrect your dead child, really think about it. I understand. I sympathize with your loss, but seriously, there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
It's cautionary.
It is cautionary.
Don't do it.
You know what?
do
I
it.
won't.
Yeah.
I won't at all.
Walk
No.
away.
Yeah, walk away from the pet cemetery.
Okay, and
It says pet cemetery.
And if you
First of all,
if you have lost a child and you're going to write an angry email right now, come on.
Send it to Jake Johansson. Sean, you had something there?
Come on.
Okay.
Really?
We have to.
That's who you are? You've listened to this whole thing and that's who you are? Oh, I'm so disappointed with the ending of who you are.
Okay, we have to. If we're talking about evil kids, though, we have to mention. I mean, this goes into babies too, right?
of course.
That's
My
My
an
favorite,
example.
my the
classic.
started
evilest
off-
of kids.
we started off
They don't
with-
let you sleep.
We started off with the unborn.
There's the unborn too.
Oh yeah, that's another one. But no, my favorite, one of my favorite Larry Cohen films from 1974. It's Alive.
Right.
Oh,
You know this
my
movie, right?
Now this is great because it's kind of like another creepy thing where like you don't know why it's happening. Suddenly, like this couple just gives birth to like this hideous, like mutant,
Full-on
baby,
mutant
that's, like,
baby.
mutant with claws,
Fangs,
and fangs,
claws.
and it tears people's throats out.
Yeah,
And it's like
and it makes a sound. It goes,
really creepy.
Wasn't it like an early Rick Baker?
It was
design?
Rick Baker designed it. It was starring John P. Ryan and Sharon Farrell, and it's really a creepy movie though. It's like about like, of course, they're first like rejecting this hideous thing, but then it's like, but their parents,
Yeah.
kind of, like,
And they're
they
trying,
want to
you
start
know.
protecting, even though like the cops now want to kill it.
And there's a great scene, like in the first one, especially where he attacks, because he's a baby, he wants milk, right? So he attacks a milk truck, right? And then the milkman, he of course,
Yep,
and goes
makes
after the
total sense.
Of course, right? He goes after the milkman, and then there's the great scene you see of like all the milk spilling out of the van mixed with blood.
Yeah.
You know, Sean, I remember that when the film came out as a kid, I remember the preview on television,
The,
and it
trailer
was
was
the
great.
trailer. The trailer, it actually,
Which was?
it's all black, but you see this baby bassinet, and you hear stuff about. They're not
Yes.
sending out invitations. They're not doing this. They're not. And that and
There's
it slowly
something wrong
turns.
with
There's
this
something wrong with the
baby.
baby. And as it turns, you see that the little baby's
claw.
hand
Baby claw.
Oh, what it was
is
the
hanging
the narration
out
was,
of
And the
back.
VO guy is
Yeah.
really good because he goes, it's alive.
no, what it was. There's only one thing wrong with the Davises, baby. It's alive. Yeah.
And as a kid, Sean, when it freaked me out.
No, it's scary.
It was
It's cool.
good.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
This movie also spawned 2 sequels. It Lives Again, which
Yeah.
is more now suddenly like mutant babies were being born all over
The place.
They're
And then
trying to find a way, yeah.
my favorite of the sequels, It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive.
Yes,
They have their own island.
So there's
they're
no-
See, this is the premise. What happened is that
No, you don't have to explain the premise.
It's
the babies start a resort.
It's like that. It's like the movie
No.
before where the babies kill all the adults, and then all that happens is then the babies
No, they
that
have
they
an
have
island.
are
Yeah, yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
live here until we kill off the
Claw
entire
baby.
species.
that one's a crazy one. It's got Michael Moriarty, of course, one of Larry Cohen's favorite actors, and Karen Black.
He's the dad in the first one too, right?
No, it's John P. Ryan.
John P. Ryan, okay.
Yeah, and Frederick Forrest is the dad in the second one.
Ah, okay.
But Island of the Alive is like kind of like the babies somehow kind of grow up to be adult mutants, and they kind of put them all on an island. But
And they wear overalls.
Yeah. Yeah. But Michael Moriarty kind of feels bad about them. He wants to kind of go liberate them, and it's great though. It's
there's
crazy.
always
All
one of
three are
those
directed
guys.
by Larry
And
Cohen.
these are some of the last scores by Bernard Herrmann.
That's
the
right. Great
composer.
score, great moody score. And now you had mentioned, Matt, the Unborn.
Yes.
Which is a really creepy Roger Corman produced one with Brooke Adams.
I don't know
that
Karen,
one. I don't know the
Kathy
one.
Griffin.
It was remade too,
wait,
but I don't know
Kathy
if it was
Griffin?
that good.
Griffin?
Yeah. Yes,
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin is in there.
The Kathy Griffin
is
of
in it.
now?
It's
The Kathy Griffin of
Kathy
now.
Griffin, yes. Brooke Adams, she can't have a kid with her husband, so they go to this in vitro fertility place, which of course is run by Mad Dr. James Karen,
Of course.
and he's trying to create super babies with his genetics, and so
You
basically that's
want
a
to
good
have
baby.
a kid,
Yeah, it's
so you
good.
don't see this coming. That's the thing. When you want to have
Yeah.
a kid and you can't have a kid,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just
Right.
like, he
Tunnel
seems
vision.
a little crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's probably
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The Unborn is not a movie to watch if you're a pregnant woman.
No, not at all.
I don't think
It's,
any of these are good if you're
But it's great because basically it's a little killer fetus running around. It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. It's great.
That could happen.
Can I just say, if we're going to talk about evil kid movies,
Yeah.
I would.
Home Alone?
Well, that you're close.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I
Well,
know.
then that's sort of that's a
Brings up a
nice
different
segue
one.
into The Good Son.
Yeah, The
remember
Good
that
Son.
movie?
Yeah.
This is from
Remember that?
1993.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
And Elijah Wood. This is pre-Lord of the Rings. And the weird thing is for Macaulay Culkin, it's post-Home Alone, actually.
Wow.
He was the big star
yes,
in that.
that's right. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, he's this
tell
bad
the good son. Go ahead.
this bad influence kid that I've never even seen it, so you probably should.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Sean, have you seen it?
I've never seen it.
Okay. I'm actually
what I've
surprised.
heard-
Well, I think
No. So
Macaulay Culkin is a child left in the jungle,
No,
and he's
no.
adopted by
So what happens
Panther.
is
They were
So
going
there's
to
this-
call it Home Alone, no bullshit.
So what happens is there's this kid who's going to go stay with his aunt and uncle because his parents are going away or something, and he kind of befriends his cousin, and his cousin turns out to be kind of a bit of a sociopath, and he does stuff like
A little bad seed.
Yeah.
From what I heard, doesn't he he causes like a traffic jam or a traffic accident?
that kills people.
Kills people.
And, yeah.
Kills animals and stuff like that. And then Elijah Wood gets wise, and then it's like a battle between them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah.
But Ferris Bueller, I'm on the money here. Ferris Bueller,
No.
Ferris Bueller.
You know.
No, I'm sorry.
How is no?
Ferris
How-
Bueller.
how?
Have you watched the movie?
Yes. Not only that, my friend, I've had my kid watch it.
He's a sociopath.
No, he's not a
He's the
sociopath.
horrible kid.
He's not
No.
a good person.
He is not a good person at all. He hates his friend. He
loves his
no,
friend.
he does not.
Yes,
he gets his friend to take his dad's car and
That's
fucks up the
right.
car.
That's right.
And he manipulates all his friend. I'm telling you,
No.
the sequel
Yeah.
to Ferris Bueller's Day Off is A Clockwork Orange.
I love a Ferris Bueller sequel where he is evil.
Yeah, where he
It's
just
terrible.
now he's just on. Now he's an adult and like how
And
God,
I think-
how do I up this game?
I think Matthew Broderick might be up for it.
I think
Right.
If the script is right,
he's
I
gone
think
down that
you gotta do
road.
it.
Yes, he has. No pun intended.
A couple others I want to mention though. One from 1977 is just called The Child.
Oh, I'm so happy you brought that up.
That's
I love that movie.
Great regional low budget movie.
1977. Robert Voskanian.
Yeah.
Did you guys? How do you?
we live
Did you
this
guys
stuff.
able each other? Because I
Yes.
can't
Look
believe.
up
No.
Killer Kids.
No.
Oh, you mean Robert Voskanian?
Yeah.
It's the best Robert Voskanian film,
really
clearly.
is.
Yeah.
No, but it's simple idea. It's just this creepy little girl who has friends in the graveyard next door because she can basically resurrect the dead and have them do whatever.
They're
she wants.
zombies.
I was trying to tell you about this Neil Gaiman book, The Graveyard, where the kid, his parents are murdered. He goes to live in the graveyard. He's raised by ghosts. He's the only person who can see them. And again, it's
Well,
a
he
book.
stole
Which
that
is
from- he
kind of
stole that
like
from The Child.
Kataro.
And then the people who murdered his parents come back and try and kill him because he's the witness that can incriminate them.
That sounds great.
Sounds cool.
It is great.
Good old
But yeah, The
Neil
Child
Gaiman.
is- The
It's
Child
for
is
children.
great. And another weird one is called The Pit from 1981. But this weird, disturbed,
I've never seen that.
picked on kid who like feeds all his enemies. He throws them in this pit where these trog monsters are living. It's a great one, really bizarre.
Yep. I love that that's your idea. Like, I found a pit full of trog monsters, and they're super hungry. And,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're kind of assholes. I don't want to let them out of the pit. But I have some friends that I don't like, and I think I could throw them in.
pretty
We can
much
make.
it.
We can
Who
work
would
out a-
know?
We can work
Who
out a
would
win-win, right?
The Devil Times 5.
The Devil Times 5, featuring a young Leif Garrett as an evil,
Wow.
one
He
of
is
an
an evil
evil
kid.
pack of kids.
You know what? Here's what I want to bring up right now is why aren't they making evil kid movies now the way they used to? Because I feel like a lot of your best examples that
Yeah, a
we've
lot
been
of them
talking about
are-
are 50s, 60s,
well-
70s,
70s, yes.
1980s,
No, you
What
bring up a
about,
good point, yeah.
But what about Orphan?
Well, Orphan is interesting.
Yes,
Sort of.
interesting.
It's on the line because
Right.
Orphan is this family. I think it's
2009
yeah,
came out.
it's,
And there was some uproar about
yeah,
that film.
Peter
if I remember
Sarsgaard,
correctly.
the family, they adopt this kid, and it's this little girl who's very charismatic, but then even the orphanage is going like, bad shit happens when she's around. Like, oh, we'll take her anyway.
Right.
So she comes home.
Yeah, we
and,
just
like,
loved it. We just
yeah.
want a kid.
And
We
all
don't-
this bad stuff starts happening, and like the brother is attacked by her, but the parents don't see any of this stuff, so it's all
Right,
on the
right.
down low.
The parents are like the refs from the wrestling, those professional wrestling.
Right, exactly. Like, their heads they're yelling at the
then
audience.
turn the other
yeah,
way.
and
Right.
Rocky Johnson is Rocky Johnson. That's how far back I go. But yeah, so this kid is doing all these horrible things, and then through a series of events, they find out that the kid is not actually a kid. It's this woman who has this like disease where she looks like she's a kid all the time.
Yeah.
And so, is
She's
that really a killer kid?
Sociopathic woman who disguised as a kid.
Yeah, and at one point she even like comes on to the dad,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's super.
really
it's also
weird.
kind of a black comedy too.
Yeah, it's pretty good though.
That's one of the best things. That's a good vampire trope. Is
Yeah.
Interview with a Vampire when they meet the little kid.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Because
She,
she's like
she is an evil kid because but she's so old
she
now.
never
that she's
Yeah.
aged.
Well, and that would be
Right.
like with the kid
Kirsten
from
Dunst.
Near Dark, the kid from Near Dark.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's true.
Who was played? He always played a weird kid, and
Well,
wasn't he
it's-
also in River's Edge? That kid, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
but-
Let the right one in too. To go back to that, which
Right.
we just
Yeah,
suggested
that's-
earlier.
yeah.
That's an evil kid, but it is.
Well, here's a
ancient.
more recent one too, from 2006 that I think you know about, Matt, which is pretty creepy. It's called Them.
Yes, a French movie.
Not,
I don't
not,
know
not
that
the,
one.
Not the 1950s giant
Yeah.
ant.
That's the one. That's what I was thinking.
Another
I'm like,
evil ant.
nothing.
It
I
has
remember the
nothing
evil
to do
kid
with
in
ants.
that.
No.
No, it's from France, and it's basically this couple is
Directed
out-
by David Moreau.
and they're like out in this
And
you know,
Xavier
of course,
Palud.
an old country home where no one's around, and they're just terrorized all night by these assailants that like they're hooded assailants. You know, they don't know what's going on, and you think maybe is it something supernatural? I mean, it turns out it's a freaking pack of
It's a
kids.
pack of just wild,
fucking kids.
feral kids.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. but
And
it's-
apparently, it was wasn't it sort of like based on true events that
Yeah,
this
kind of.
did happen?
Yeah,
like there
yeah.
were these
And is
feral
it-
kids that were running around.
That time there were those feral kids in France.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I.
yeah.
Yeah,
Raised
yeah.
by wolves.
Yeah.
The wolf boy and
the
his
wolf,
friends.
the wolf kids of France. That was the
yeah,
novel.
that's
That
a good
happens,
one.
France.
But going back to Stephen King, can't let this go by without mentioning a novella called Apt Pupil.
Oh
It
yeah.
was made into a Bryan Singer film, which was not as good as the novella.
Right.
Even though Bryan Singer is normally a pretty good director, X-Men. It's about a kid who thinks that, Nazi Germany was really cool, and he finds a Nazi in hiding in his suburban neighborhood, and he kind of blackmails him into this old Nazi into going along with his dark fetishes.
The
And,
whole idea of a child being able to blackmail a Nazi is to me absurd.
well,
And then-
King pulls it off, though.
Well, it goes.
you know?
It's
Yeah.
interesting because it's a power play that keeps tipping
Right,
back and
right.
forth.
Well, because the Nazi's also a very old man at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
And isn't it
played by Ian McKellen?
Ian McKellen,
Right.
yeah.
Ian McKellen.
And
Yes,
this,
that's
this,
right.
This was attempted as a feature with Ricky Schroeder and Nicole Williamson back, years before that, and the movie was never completed. It would have been fascinating to
Wow.
see. But anyway, as a novella,
It's a great story.
It's awesome.
It's a great story.
And like Christine, it's one of those stories where the King is particularly good at, where you've got a character with some evil tendencies that just gets enveloped by the circumstances around him once he starts
Right.
going down that road.
Right.
Hey, so should we do kind of a last kind of roundup here of some films? What do you
Yeah,
think?
sure.
What does that mean?
We're going to do a little round robin.
You mean we're recapping, or we got to have new ideas now?
No,
Jesus, I feel like how long can this go on? Can we just keep going until one of us gives up?
it could
Yeah.
it could go on.
Oh, we can
boy.
do that.
We-
Oh,
but
boy.
you want to
This
do
is,
that, do
No,
you?
no.
Oh,
I think
boy.
I think we should round
This
it
is
up.
our battle royale,
Yeah.
Jake.
Well, Matt, why don't you start us off then?
Well, I have to say that there's a few that we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah, I wanted to mention off a
And
couple.
there's one that I saw recently because we haven't talked about too many recent films, and I just saw one last weekend that was a lot of fun. It's kind of a horror comedy, and it's called The Cooties. And
The Cooties.
The Cooties.
Oh.
It's really good. It's 2014. It's when it comes to the comedy, it's kind of like when the jokes are, it's kind of hit and miss.
Yeah.
But overall, I have to say,
To us,
yeah, your standard audience would overall enjoy it. And it's got Elijah Wood and Rainn Wilson. Elijah Wood is this substitute teacher that is going to this school to take over the class. And while this is happening, apparently something went wrong with the chicken in the McNuggets that they serve to the kids.
No.
And there's,
You mean the McNugget like chicken product? You don't mean
I don't mean the actual
McNuggets
McDonald
because-
McNuggets.
No, because those are delicious
Yes.
and nothing could ever possibly
Lawyers,
go wrong.
put down your phones. But yes, the chicken nugget-like substance that the kids are eating.
Please, if you love your children, insist on real McNuggets.
Yes.
They're not dangerous.
They will not turn your kids into murderers, which is what happens in this movie. They eat these McNuggets. Something happens. This girl, all of a sudden, there's a great scene where there's these two bully kids and they're picking on this girl that has all these pustules on her face. And they're like, "You're so ugly. You're the ugliest. You look like my butt. You look like my butt's butt." And they grab the girl's pigtail and it just rips like her entire skin off of her skull. And this girl just goes berserk and starts murdering.
As you would. If somebody pulled
starts
your-
slashing something. And then, of course, this fans out, and now all the kids are like this, and they're waiting, and all the teachers now are stuck inside the school, the ones that are alive, and they're trying to figure out how to get out. And this is kind of, now it's sort of like a Night of the Living Dead.
So it's like a zombie movie, but the children of the zombies.
Yeah. And it's pretty fun. The effects are great, though. Like the things that the virus-infected kids do to the adults, like they're playing with their body parts as if they would be playing with toys in the schoolyard. Wow. It's a lot of fun, and I mean, do all the jokes work? No, but if you liked it, if you like this sort of thing, you would enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. Not something so new. Well, there is one that's kind of new. I mean, but I was actually going to go for something a little more classic from 1978, and that's the classic Halloween.
That's
directed by
Kid.
John Carpenter, because the film begins. The film begins with Michael Myers as a kid, and you actually see a shot where it's from his perspective, and he takes with his little hand and he puts a little mask on, and you're looking through the two eyes, the eye holes, where he kills his sister and stuff. But now Rob Zombie later in 2007 does kind of an updated version where you go into a little bit more information about Michael Myers. But still, I mean, I love the classic, and I think that's like a real ultimate evil kid, because I mean, he kills off.
I love that you're the lawyer and you're trying to do this. I totally get it, and I agree with you that Mike Myers is that example of like the vampire movie kid who looks like a kid but is not a kid. This guy is a kid, but he doesn't look like a kid.
Okay.
Mike Myers. Do you know what I mean? He was turned evil when he was a kid.
Well,
he was,
right.
or you would argue he was born evil.
He was born. He was like an ultimate bad.
And he never
seed.
progresses out of that, even though his body gets big. He's still this terrible child.
That's true.
Sean,
Spooky.
how about you?
Well, I have two. We never talk about like creepy ghost kids. And one of my favorite Italian horror films is from 1966. Directed by the great Mario Bava. Kill Baby Kill.
Oh my God!
Really
I can't believe we
it's
didn't.
like this
bring
village
that up.
is
So
this
great.
whole village is just kind of haunted by this creepy little girl ghost, and it's just a great image of this kind of like blonde, kind of staring little
Ghostly
girl.
child that appears at the window of your house.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
Next thing you know, you are dead.
And along the same lines, another one. Not the greatest movie. It's kind of a 3-part movie, but the one part is really good. It's called Spirits of the Dead. And it's directed by 3 segments. One is by Federico Fellini, one by Louis Malle, and one by Roger Vadim.
What's the date on that, Sean? I don't know that
was
one.
1968.
No.
But the best part is this one segment called Toby Dammit. And it's with Terrence Stamp, who's like this kind of like womanizing, like decadent actor, just full of himself, and he's haunted by this little girl ghost.
That was the
too.
Fellini one, right?
Yeah, and it's really creepy.
And what's it called again, Sean?
It's called Spirits of the Dead.
Spirits of the
It's
Dead.
the 3rd segment in that.
I'll have to check that one
It's
out.
really good.
Yeah, and if you're talking about ghostly kids too, you can't leave out like The Grudge and The Ring.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
The
Yeah.
Orphanage.
Well,
Ring,
I was
but that's a ghost. That's
Yeah, it's a ghost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're creepy kids.
James, what about you?
Well,
One last one
I'll
here.
bring up the twins from The Shining.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
They're not evil.
No.
They're not evil.
They're not
but
evil.
They're harbingers of evil.
Yeah.
So I think
I agree.
they're
you know
at
what?
least worth mentioning.
It's
They're very-
adjacent. I'll include it.
They're
You know,
iconic. They're iconic.
They are.
And also, you guys took my other one, so
What was it?
What was your other one?
Michael Myers, young Michael Myers.
Sorry,
that's
like
true.
if you were to sit here, you would have got that. But too bad.
Yes, Jake.
Jake,
Okay, I've got the joke one. Stand by Me.
There's some evil kids in that.
That's a
Yeah.
movie. The more seriously despicable, dark version of that, which is River's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's right on the money.
Right.
And then finally, the movie whose title is our topic, Kids.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's meant to look like a documentary, but it's about these street kids,
that's true.
and it's really they're just.
wait, I think I saw that the documentary.
Yeah, it's-
okay, I think I did.
yeah.
What
But
was
it's
it?
not a documentary.
Jake, what's the date on that one?
It's from. I just had to look it up because I thought of it. It's 1995. A bleak and uncompromising look at the dangerous world of New York street kids. But it is it's not a documentary.
No, that's a really good. That was that was a big critically acclaimed film too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a.
I need to see
spooky
that again.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a really creepy movie about a reality kind of look.
Yeah, it's real life horror.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like bullying,
Children, yeah.
isn't it? Isn't it all about bullying?
Well, then there's Bully, the movie
Drinking
Bully,
and smoking, and,
where they kill the kid.
Yeah.
They kill the bully. Do you remember? You see that movie?
yeah.
A movie called Bully. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff.
I mean, there's
the real life horror things are crazy.
There's so many films that are like evil kids or bad kids. You know, we could go on and on.
Willy Wonka.
No, well, actually, no.
Yes.
You know what? I'm not going to say
Mike
evil
TV.
kids. I'm not
Mike
going to say.
TV.
I'm not going to say
They're bad
evil
kids.
Veruca Salt is absolutely.
There's no redeeming her.
Do you know what
She's
I'm-
never going to
do you
turn
know what I'm
around.
surprised?
They're all terrible except
I've-
for Charlie.
Out of all this talk, though, out of
He
all this
turned down the
talk, no
chocolate.
one
Just
brought
an
up
idiot.
No one brought up The Brood from '79.
We've discussed that
Wait,
before.
that's why. Maybe
Yes,
that's why,
though.
Matt. Because
We discussed
the
that before.
Brood, the Brood. This is David Cronenberg.
And are those really
Classic.
kids?
Oh, okay. See, now
that's-
you got me again. Now I got to shut up again. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
they're
You're right.
manifestations
You're right.
of anger.
You're right.
look
you're
like
right.
kids.
You're right. I take that back.
But
I
if you've
take that
never
back. No.
if you've never heard of the Brood, find the Brood because
Yeah,
the way I just
good.
described that. Come on, you need to see this.
Oh,
Yeah,
you've got
it's
your
great.
work cut out for
Oh,
you
yeah.
after listening to this
yeah,
episode.
we got a lot. We've covered a lot.
We
of
sure
ground.
have.
We sure have.
Indeed.
Game of Thrones, evil King Joffrey. When he died, it was so great. And then that it turned out to be bad for other people, well, that's Game of Thrones for you right
Yes,
there.
yeah, I know. Always turning.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Or you win and you die.
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
happen. It can go both
Yeah.
ways. But it's not just him. That other kid, Renly or Rat,
Who could put his mind?
No,
No, because that was a good kid.
The kid who cuts off what's his name's
Oh, yeah. Was he a
block and
kid though?
tackle.
He's
Well,
more of an
he's a
adult,
young-
right?
He's a young.
He
to
look.
me,
He
he's
looks
a
young.
kid.
Yeah.
To me, he's a
us, he
kid.
does look.
Yeah.
He is a
If you're
kid.
30 years
oh,
old.
you. So evil kids includes 30-year-olds.
Well, if you're cutting my balls and if you're cutting my junk off,
Yeah,
you're
you're kind
an
of
evil kid.
you're back to
feel
a lesson.
like, yeah, that's
but
bad.
Joffrey, I have to say one thing about Joffrey. Joffrey was such a great character and played so well that during that whole thing, I was like, boy, I can't wait till you die.
He's such a good actor in this thing
Yeah.
that you feel like if you saw him in person, you would hate him. Like, it must be so terrible to be him.
Yes.
Because I bet when he goes out, people are just like, oh, what a douche.
He's
that
got to
guy
find
is."
another role.
Yeah.
It's like Malfoy in Harry Potter.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You need to. It's like if I were that kid, I would just embrace it and just be just be Sinatra of kids.
That's the thing is you may not start off evil, but you pretend to be evil long enough, and then pretty soon everybody assumes you're evil, and so you just go with it.
He gets a lot of dates, I'm assuming, that kid.
Chicks
think so?
like the bad boy.
Yeah.
They do.
Yes, they do.
They do.
But this has been wonderful. And Jake, I would just like to thank you for making the scene.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you guys for having me along. I realize that I can't participate at the level that you can, but I've done my best, and I've really enjoyed
Yeah,
myself.
awesome.
You've done admirably.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? You've kind of like, you were sort of like the wrench in the works
Don't
that would
break it
throw
down.
us.
Don't break it down. Don't talk about it too much.
I don't want to look behind the curtain.
It's going to fall apart. If you try and explain what was good about it, then
Admirably.
pretty soon people are going to
Admirably.
disagree.
You did
and
a
it's gonna be
thing with a
trouble.
thing that was like a thing.
Jake, thanks for being here, just hanging
Yes.
with us.
And
Thank you,
and
Jake.
Jake,
We appreciate it.
normally, we would like our guests to plug whatever they got going in their lives.
Something
What do
going on?
Yeah, what do you got going?
I'm not sure that I'm doing anything that would be of interest to your listeners, but I am a stand-up comedian, and you can check out my website, jakethis.com. I have live gigs coming up. I've got a podcast of my own called Jake This of Jake Johansson, that,
which I've
you've been
appeared.
on.
My wife and I have appeared on, and it's a wonderful podcast.
And we did it at Podfest one year, and it was a stone groove.
The internet is so much fun.
Yes, it is.
And I'm just happy to help you guys fill up another little corner of it.
Because we needed more podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we needed more things to listen to. There's a lot of people driving around going, geez, there's nothing to do. I can't hear anything. I don't have anything to listen to that I'm interested in.
And Jake, you were on one of the last late shows with David Letterman.
That's
I was
right.
The end of the year.
I
The
caught
end of the
that.
year last
That was
year.
awesome.
Very exciting.
The end of the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's do a listener shout out.
Shout out.
For this episode, it's going to go to Clint Osborne.
Clint Osborne.
Clint hails from Rapid City, South Dakota.
I love that
Rapid
town.
City.
Clint is a writer, and if judging by his tweets, he's also an insomniac.
Clint, come over. Just come over.
Yeah.
Clint has done some fan art.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
For your show?
Yes, he
Yeah, he
did.
kind of turned
Really
a photo
great.
of us. He turned like all our faces into
Turned us into
zombies,
monsters.
zombie
It's
monsters.
so cool.
For
Yeah.
Halloween.
Very little work.
No. It's a lot of work.
He surprised us after our monster therapy episode where Dr. Tom had given us a new catchphrase, which was fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. And,
How does he think them up?
and
He's a doctor. Well, he's not a doctor, actually.
Clint actually went ahead and did a mock T-shirt design that on the back of the Monster Party T-shirt wrote "fuck it, fuck it, fuck it." So thank you, Clint. We appreciate your support. That is totally out of the
That's
box.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for- thanks
Beyond
for
the Call of
listening,
Duty.
Clint.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, yes.
And let's remind our listeners that we are on Facebook at Monster Party TV, also YouTube at Monster Party TV, and please follow us on Twitter at Monster Party HQ. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, please take a moment and write a review. We would love to hear your thoughts.
And you've been listening to Monster Party, a presentation of the Fangoria Podcast Network. It's produced by Thomas DeFeo and Matt Weinhold, and executive produced by Ken Hanley of Fangoria Entertainment. And for press opportunities, advertising inquiries, and information about Monster Party, contact ken@fangoria.com.
And on that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
I'm Jake Johansson, right?
You-
Is this where I say that?
That's right.
It came around and I was like, am I supposed to talk? Okay, thanks.
No, we love it when you talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, talk some more.
You guys are nice people.
We
and this
are.
is a nice place. And,
Oh, you.
We hope you
thanks
come
again.
back.
Oh, and thank you, Jake Johansson, once again, for being part of our 50th episode.
Yeah.
Thank you,
It's
Jay.
pretty exciting.
Thank you.
It
It's
is.
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Thrilled to have you here on our 50th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
it's my pleasure. I hope I'll be back for the 100th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can guarantee 2 more, maybe?
Well, we'll see.
What do you mean, 2 more episodes?
At least 2 more.
Yeah, see, we're
I
gonna
don't want to
make it
get ahead of
52.
my... Yeah.
Are we going to sing?
The 50th anniversary song?
Happy birthday.
No,
Okay.
no, we're not going to.
Way to make it uncomfortable.
Yeah, you
Okay.
guys are heading for the cornfield.
Oh God.
I tried to sing a song, and now we're all going to eat cake-flavored hamburgers.
And on that note, keep America strong.
Watch Evil Kid movies. I'm going to kill you. Meow.
Am I in the intro?
You will be.
There was a long pause. Is it me?
No.
No.
Okay.
Here,
This is what we do. There's a moment of silence.
Yes.
I do my whole lead in, and then you know the show is
And
starting.
then he does the intro, and we introduce ourselves. We say what the topic is, and then Matt will introduce you.
Exactly.
Okay?
I won't talk until
Yes.
will you point at me.
Don't talk.
I will. I will. Yes.
Don't talk until
You'll see how it goes. It's not as complicated.
Yeah.
as
This
it
is my first.
It's not your first rodeo.
I'm okay.
Is it?
I'd love it if we were already started. I feel like we've already done
Yeah.
3 good beginnings. to the
We need
show,
bloopers
but-
Wait,
too.
he has his
so-
own podcast. He
Yes,
knows how to
does.
do this.
I
Okay.
do know how to
All
do
right.
it.
Let's
Well,
silence.
this is not how I do it.
No, this is
Yeah,
different.
no, you're a professional.
Professional.
No,
Yes.
on my podcast, this goes on for a while, and then someone says, "So are we? Is it on?"
Okay.
And then I say, "Yeah, we already started."
But you see, there's a
So-
problem with that, you know.
Oh,
What is
okay.
it?
But you know what? I think what we'll do is we'll get started and we'll go
Let's
into that
talk
another
about the
time.
problem later.
in the show. We're not in the show.
Yes.
No, we're
No,
not on a show.
no,
Okay,
no,
Matt.
right?
Are we recording this?
We are recording, but it's
so
for
you
fun.
But you could use this.
He's not going to use
We
this.
often
This
do.
is dreadful.
We often do bloopers.
This is
No. Well, I don't think
This would be
this is
considered a blue. This is more behind the scenes.
I feel like it's bonus material.
See, actually,
Thank you, bonus
a
material.
blooper is actually supposed to be a funny thing.
It's one of those
actually.
cannonball run.
I enjoy this myself.
This is funny
I find
to some people, not maybe
Not
to you.
not to no
No.
I think to many people it is not funny.
No, it's a little too meta for your taste.
Well, you have to know who's your audience, and I feel like my audience.
You got to know
is the
who's
people-
your audience.
If you're enjoying this, then you're my audience.
This is
But
a
if you're
good
not
thing, but if
enjoying
it's
this-
not, then
All right.
don't.
All right, yeah, great accent.
But we haven't started yet.
All right, okay.